And we're spinning and rolling. Oh, howdy doody. Greetings and harp and hope. It's only me. It's only the Kimmer. The old Kimmer Show podcast for Thursday, the 12th of Johnny Mathis. That was a beautiful song. He had a beautiful voice, I got to say it, for a very strange fellow. Anyway, it's the 12th of January, 2023, podcast number 520. And it's only me, and we got Pete Davis, our sidekick, producer, and sports raconteur extraordinaire. Oh, the podcast just made an appearance. Hi, Lucas the Podcat. And Flounder, the mechanical mangler at the controls here at El Condo Floundo. And Kitty Cat's going up onto the couch there. You go.
Taking the position. The monitor.
So we're all set to go. Anyway, howdy. Nice to have you aboard. We're on YouTube and Facebook. And again, if you go to thekimmershow.net, you can link up to all of our radio link with 106.3 and the podcast stuff and all kinds of good things. And you can also link up to how you can help us stay on the podcast road by sending us a little donation once in a while if you can. By the way, the trickling of the post office boxes kind of dwindled into the. but no, we still have it. If you can send us a thing. And again, thekimmershow.net. You can get that address. And Venmo always works. PayPal, stuff like that. Okay. Now we got a billion things. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. I mentioned that just out of curiosity. Talk about it very quickly. Also, messages, thank yous. MILF Island's coming up. A funny thing on Tucker. We got some weirdo stuff, good stuff like that. But we also have the hard news. Now, and again, it's not a newscast, but we have to mention these things. President Pervert has now been caught hiding secret documents in his garage, his personal garage next to his little Corvette. Gee, but again, it was probably just notes on how much he likes his finger painting in the afternoon back when he was vice president and things like that. Just a mistake, but they found it. They're going to turn it over, so nothing to see here. Keep moving. It's not like Trump. I mean,
FBI raids.
Oh, yeah, I think they shot a couple of his groundskeepers trying to make sure they didn't leave the premises. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Also, Republicans are keeping their promises, investigating not only Biden. What's that? Fishing? What?
The whip.
Oh, the whip. I swear to God, I'm going to do it. What? I know. I've got it right here. I take it easy.
Okay, when I'm doing a hand gesture, yet. That's only for us, basically, and anyone paying attention on camera. You're supposed to just keep going and just nod your head.
Well,
okay,
you
I
might mention that. So in one of our production
meetings.
It's
going to halt the
show. Anyway, well, the GOP is keeping its word on investigating not only the Bidens, but also the whole deal about the business with the every issue that's come up with this lying little scumbag. You're going to hear some Twitter reaction to getting rid of the people on the intelligence committees and so forth, foreign relations committees as well, the racists and liars. Also, we have Pete found a new. I guess it's an advertisement or a promo for a new institute. To help people deal with these strange occurrences that are happening. Was this all on a COVID vaccine, people falling down and dying?
Oh, no. It has nothing to do with COVID. It's just a coincidence.
Well, see, that's the thing. I admit I'm way off kilter here. So, again, we're going to straighten that out a little bit later on. Pete, thanks to Pete, found this thing here. Also, we got a billion things. Mike Luck hates Americovich, the suspected al-Qaeda terrorist propaganda chief, is at it again with the liberals. Also, more on the Republicans turning on their own guy in New York. Stakey Big Fat Loser has to pay $230,000 back and owes even more for her ridiculous lawsuit business. Also, Prince Harry, well, the latest on that, a bunch of things. Pete's been invited into some kind of secret society. There's a Hall of Famer involving something with horses, something about weather, something about mushrooms, and some movie trivia. Also, a Dear Abby and some sports stuff, and see whether you agree with this thing. And before we get too far, I forgot to play Powerball last night. This is, as we speak, it's Thursday. Powerball is on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Right now. But nobody won, so now it's like $400 million on Powerball. Mega Millions, which is on Tuesday and Saturday, is on Tuesday and Friday. Mega Millions, Tuesday and Friday, is over $1.3 billion. And so, and by the way, the reason it didn't hit, on Tuesday, you ready for this? Here were the numbers on Tuesday. See if you would have written this, if you'd have picked these numbers, see if you'd have had ever done these. The Powerball for the Mega Millions was 9, which is, just a number. But here are the first four numbers: 7, 13, 14, 15.
I had two of them.
13, 14, 15, 18. 7, 13, 14, 15, 18. I mean, never got out above 18. But again, that's why it's 1.3 billion. Because who'd have thought? And who's, nobody, it's just the luck of the billion odd straw. Anyway, I thought that was fairly interesting. Okay, also a couple of quick thank yous. In fact, I'll tell you what, before we do that, oh my God, is that your phone or was that me?
I'm going to kill it.
Oh, no. You're going to hurt that thing?
I hope so.
Now, isn't that a new one? Didn't you just get a new one?
It's an 8. It's 5 years old.
I'm
trying to kill it.
Yeah. Well, then just get another. They must
I
give
can't
you some
justify
for
getting a new one while this one works. So if this one stops working, I can. Once I break it, I can go get one.
Yeah.
With a clear conscience.
But there you are. All right. Well, we'll talk more about Pete's phone. Also, some thank yous, some candy bars that I don't think Pete wants, but we'll find out with a couple of thank you notes. Also, Guten Abend with our Kimmer fans, and it still gives me a big old tingle tickle. But a quick reminder about our sponsors. Great to have aboard our buddy Swap My Whip. SwapMyWhip.com. Whip, of course, being a colloquial phrase for a car or a ride. Swap My Whip. If you're driving along and you see a car, you thought, man, I've always wanted that old da-da-da. You might be able to find it and make your own deal. Here's it. No middlemen, no dealers, no car salesmen, stuff like that. You go to SwapMyWhip.com. And you may just find guys or women, somebody who wants to get rid or trade their car with yours or make your own deal. Or maybe you see something you like, you get a hold of the guy, he says, yeah, I don't want yours, but I hear you got a friend who may have something. You know what? I mean, just make your own thing. It's unbelievable. You never know what you're going to find. You get a better deal avoiding all those middlemen people. And it's not just cars, obviously trucks and SUVs, boats, jet skis, off-road vehicles, stuff like that. Probably go-karts. I don't know. I mean, check it out. SwapMyWhip.com. And if you use the Kimmer code, Kimmer, the coupon code Kimmer, Kimmer, it's 180 days of free premium listings on SwapMyWhip.com. So thank you for joining us as a sponsor. SwapMyWhip.com, been a long-time friends of ours, and we're very grateful. A couple of quick things. I promise you got a lot of newsy stuff and things like that. First of all, I got a box. Again, it was too big for the post office box, so they sent me to another one, but I got it. And it's a note that says, say you couldn't find the larger bars. 3 goes into 40.
Find the largest bars?
No, that was he was saying that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Let's
say you couldn't find. 3 goes into 48 Snickers bars 16 times. 3 goes into a dentist's office many times. Still sounds about right. And that's a joy from Bill. And he sent us a box of the double Snickers. And now I don't think you like. Do you like Snickers?
Hell yeah.
Oh, you do?
Hell yeah.
You like? Oh, well, you got 4. I'm bringing you 4 double ones each.
I'll eat it right now.
There you are. All right, there's 4 big super size and flounder there, and you got your cat magazine of a cat from Denise too.
Hey, while you're here,
you don't want? Well, you only want 2.
There's 4. I'll give him 2 to him.
I've got 8. You get 4, he gets 4.
Put those back.
Oh my God!
What are you doing? Walking all over my candy bars.
Now, see, folks,
taking advantage of it.
Even though this podcast is free, you don't get this kind of entertainment everywhere. So it's certainly worth the price.
I like the fact that you thought earlier that I halted the show so I could play charades with you.
I don't know what you were doing. I fell for it. I take directions. I was in the military. I do it. I'm told. I just, and we got a very nice note here. I think I might have mentioned, I don't know if I did or not, a week ago or so, with the Kimmer Media got a check at the post office box, and it was from Ann and Michael, and it was a money order donation to the podcast. Well, I went to the bank and I brought up my deposit slip and I went to the Wells Fargo bank and I took it and she says, "Oh, I can't cash this." And I said, "How come?" She said, "Well, they didn't sign the bottom of it." Now I could have, and I thought to myself 2 things. I thought, well, who knew that? There's a little teeny line down there on a money order that you're supposed to sign. And I thought 2 things. I thought, well, they're out in the car. I'll be right back. And I could have faked it and go out and written a name in myself. But then I didn't know whether there was going to be a thing or whether there's a code guide. To, you know what I mean? Who knows? And I'd be caught if I did. It must be like a federal crime, embezzlement at a bank, and I go to prison for 12 years for $20.
If you've just walked in the bank and they've seen and spoken with you, and you're on camera,
Yeah.
and you walk out on camera and sit in your car,
and write
something down, and you come back in.
I'm just saying, that's why I didn't think it through, but I thought to myself, and then the other thing I thought was, well, maybe it's like, they wanted to, I don't know, I didn't know. So anyway, so I sent it back. I sent him a very nice note and said, thank you anyway, I appreciate the thought, and told him I'd do it. Well, I just got a very, look at this 2-page typewritten letter.
Wow.
From Ann and Michael, from, where are they from? Knoxville. And she says, I'm Ann so-and-so. Michael asked me to purchase a money order for the show, which I did. Neither one of us knew how to finish the damn thing. We thought you had to sign it, which I would have thought too, like a cashier's check.
It's been so many years, I have no
I
clue.
don't think I've ever had
What's
a money
the
order.
Cashier's check and money order.
Yeah. But again, I just,
a cashier's check, I think, is for the big bucks, because when I bought my car, I had to go get one and hand them the check, and it was for a lot of money.
Oh,
so
well,
I was
I mean, traveler's checks, for example.
Well, yeah.
Traveler's checks,
do
you
they
have
do
to
that
sign.
anymore? I don't think they do those anymore.
Oh, I think you probably. I don't know. These days, you don't really need it with your phone
No,
and
you
your,
don't
your credit card. Anyway, so there goes on. She talked about how she met Michael teaching microbiology and toxicology at University of Tennessee. Well, she spent 33 years as a master's and a PhD at UGA in Athens. He went to SEC football. She worked involving counterterrorism and food safety and toxins. Damn. Was a member of Homeland Security for 10 years. Went to seminars for law enforcement, FDA, and military officials. Lectured around the world at military bases. I know these young men and women would be putting their lives at risk for me and other Americans. They gave me a challenge coin as they were deployed. And again, a challenge coin is...
What's that white powder?
This. What's that?
It's a white powder.
No.
That.
A challenge coin is I don't know if you can see it. I've shown these before. This is from the Sergeant Major of the entire Marine Corps. I carried these things for years. Anyway, it's a unit coin. And if you're ever in a bar and another Marine comes up to the bar and slams down a challenge coin, if you don't have one, you're buying. Okay. So anyway.
In my great career of bar hopping,
yes,
I never once saw that happen.
Well, then you don't go to places where a lot of Marines go. But if you walk in the bar and there's other like jarheads or military folks and you don't slam one down, anyway, whatever. Now that maybe nobody's done that in 40 years. I don't know. I was in the Marines 50 years ago, for God's sakes. No, that can't be right. 44 years, 45 years ago. Holy crap. Is that right? Mm-hmm. No, wait, no, that's not right. It was in 66. So that's 53. Oh my God. That's almost 60 years ago. Yeah. Holy crap. Anyway, so she's really served her country. I would fly out of Hartsfield on trips, put me in Atlanta many times over, visit Michael, that's how I learned of your show. He'd be listening on the radio from an adjacent room, and out of nowhere, I'd hear howling laughter. I quickly learned why he enjoyed your show so much. With your radio history in Atlanta, it's easy to see why you succeeded. Made a lot of people happy with the show presentation and callers. It was a humor, quick wit, and all-out laughter we appreciate. Michael would send in anecdotes that ended up on the show. You know this name. If I said the full name out loud, you'd remember him. They're retired, living in Knoxville. They talked about lots of horse farms, ranging from the Tennessee walking horses to the Arabians. This is where they live near Dragon's Tail. You ever heard of that famous motorcycle trail and race car trail? You're Porsche, you'd love doing that. The Dragon's Tail is US 129, not far from Knoxville. Back roads, has 318 curves over 11-mile stretch. And it's not for, you couldn't drive a big truck or limo up there because you'd be going off the edge. Anyway, Happy New Year, both of us. We hope your podcast grows and flourishes. And somehow you and that great show he once marveled at might again find its way onto the radio airwaves. He says he's never heard a better program. What a sweet note. Ann and Michael, and she signed the money order, so we got our money. Thank you so much. And again, just... we don't take phone calls like a radio talk show, so these are the things I do to pass.
Stan says they're talking about sending us money, and thank you everybody, Cindy and Stan and Strick and Villains and everybody. Yeah. And Stan goes, I'm retired. I just haven't told the people at work yet.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't stop. I mean, you're the one walking in there. And one more quick, I love these. I know this is juvenile and silly, but I get the biggest kick. I just get a complete tingle when I get a message like this from Erica Jensen. Guten Abend, Uslangi Hurtenmit Ungebinden, Grufen aus Hamburg, Germany. And I wrote back, hey, Erica, great to know you're out there and still get a kick out of our overseas podcasts. Erica wrote, Moin danke für die schnonen Nockenbrechten gesund. and which of course means good evening. It's been a long time with both. Greetings from Hamburg, Germany. And then she says, good morning. Thanks for the nice message. Stay healthy. I just, people in Germany, Finland, South America, Peru, every state. I think we have somebody in Egypt or Saudi Arabia or something. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I got my breakdown from Buzzsprout because I still use Buzzsprout for mine.
Oh, really?
And it's
For Holy Crap at Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
U.S., Canada, Australia. The 5th biggest country that listens to me is Hungary.
No kidding.
And we can't figure out why.
We have a lot of Great Britain, Ireland, Scotland, Australia. Yeah. Hi, kitty cat. Kitty cat's going in my bag again. Anyway, so thank you, Erica. That's very sweet. Very, very.
I'll look on our analytics page and see what the top 5 countries are on Podcast Park.
That'd be kind of cool. Let's see. Friday the 13th is tomorrow as we speak. Do you have any superstitions, or have you ever had a thing on Friday the 13th? Flounder, you?
Just starting podcasts.
Well, and I did that. Remember, I did that deliberately. Maybe that shows.
I got a speeding ticket, and I'm moving tomorrow, so that should be fun.
Wow. Now, have you got movers are coming, or do you want me to go down there?
No, I got moving.
Have you found a place?
No.
Are you just putting it in storage?
Yeah, I'm moving to the woods. Yeah, storage.
I think the apartment next to mine is up for. That may be a little too close.
Yeah. When we started the podcast, I remember I said, no, we've got to start it on Friday the 13th. And we did, and that's why it's probably not going to work after these so many years. Anyway, Friday, and of course, for the record, it's like just a trick to test a phobia or some damn whatever. But it's the origins are either religious with Jesus and 13 people with him at the Last Supper, or all the various things that might have happened.
The Knights Templar, the French king had them executed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million things in ancient history that happen on a Friday the 13th, but whether that means anything or not, obviously, I can't imagine it really has any serious meaning. However, there have been just a couple of examples of things that actually did take place. The cyclone that hit Bangladesh Friday the 13th, November 1970, killed 500,000 people.
That's right. George Harrison did the concert for Bangladesh.
Yep, Bangladesh. That district lost almost half its entire population. Can you imagine that?
Well, it's all it's like New Orleans. It's all beneath the floodplain. It's
right there. Yeah. It's like living under a dike. Anyway, that was 1970. Hello. That's what she said. Tupac Shakur. A famous unsolved case in history, taken out by his friend Suge Knight, they say, or a.k.a. Notorious B.I.G. He would Tupac Shakur, shot, killed. He died a few days after he got shot, but it was Friday the 13th. In Britain, a teenager was struck by lightning at an air show in England in 2010. He was struck by lightning on Friday the 13th at 13 minutes after the 13th hour. At 1:13, which is 13:13 on Friday the 13th, got hit by a lightning. He was taken to the hospital, and he only had burns all over him, but he was expected to be fine. But again, Friday the 13th. One more. Uruguayan Flight 571 headed toward Chile, crash landed in the Andes Friday, October 13th, 1972, and they ate the people that didn't make the thing. Anyway, so that's a scoop. Now, if anybody has anything about Friday the 13th. A couple, we got a lot of newsy stuff. Can I do a quick couple of TV things?
Real quick, Kimmer?
What's the matter?
The top 10 countries that are for the
listen
Kimmer
to us?
podcast? Yes.
Oh, cool.
So the United States, Canada, Germany, Jamaica, Israel, Turkey, United Kingdom, Australia, Ireland, and Aruba.
Holy cow. America, Canada, and then
Israel?
Germany, Jamaica, Israel,
Jamaica, Israel. That's very. I don't think I've ever gotten a note from somebody in Israel or Jamaica. Maybe I haven't recognized it, but they're listening. Which
8 listeners in Jamaica.
Excellent. Well, give us a shout out. I mean, that's I just get the biggest kick. Anyway, thank you. We're very grateful. A couple quick TV things. Sunday on the TLC, which is the Learning Channel, I guess. They are starting what we mentioned last week at some point. I mentioned they're going to start the TV show MILF Island. I forgot what they call it, but we're designating it MILF Island. And the theory is you see a promo for it, and there's some attractive 50-ish or 40-ish aged women in there, middle-aged women.
MILF Manor.
What's that? MILF Manor. MILF Manor. They even use the word MILF, which stands for a mother I'd like to kiss, which is not quite what it stands
There
for.
was an old porn movie from the 90s called something Manor, but I can't say.
I don't think that's the same thing. Anyway, and the promo.
I bet it is the same thing.
It is the thing, yes, exactly the same thing. And the promo shows these attractive, hot women, and the announcer saying, or maybe one of the girls is saying, I thought it would be very exciting to find some men who don't really care about the difference in ages. Good for you. Honestly,
why
for
not?
women, that's fine. I mean, that's great. Honestly, if you're single and you want to, you're still feeling, it's not a thing. That's great. I'm happy for it. Hell, they had, I don't know whether they still do it, but it was a huge story for a long time that every Thursday night in the computer parts of California, what do they call it?
Silicon Valley.
The Silicon Valley. That all the MILFs. The women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s would go to the places for all the young 20-year-old tech billionaires. And they would all pick up the older women, and they would talk about it, be on social media. Oh, yeah, I got a 24-year-old last night. I mean, they were congratulating themselves on being picked up and bedded by young 20-something tech billionaires.
Nerds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. That's what it was. They would go do nerds. They would have fun getting picked up by nerds.
Newards?
Oh, hello. Well, it's my ears. Anyway, okay. With that in mind, you see a woman saying, "I think it's fine to define men who don't really care about the difference in ages." And I'm thinking, "Oh, that's great." The story is they have these women. I don't know how many, a dozen probably. I don't know, 10 or 12, whatever. They have these women, and they're all the same thing: divorced or single, and not young, and attractive. And then it says, but there's a surprise where all the guys are going to be dating. And one of the women turns around, and then you see shock on her face, like that. And the reason she is shocked is because the young men who are trying to have sex with those women are the sons of the other women.
We discussed this a couple weeks ago.
I know, but it's going to be on Sunday night, and I'm going to watch it.
I bet you are. I'm probably going to turn my phone off because
but here's the thing, and I got to think, and now we mentioned this last week, and again, I shouldn't be giving it all this publicity, but I guarantee you, I'm going to. But here's the thing: can you imagine if your son? Now, would the son know that he's going where his mother's going to go?
Yeah.
Which is how could you as a son want to watch your mother being hit on and flirting and making out with young men? Your mother.
They're a different generation.
And the other thing is, it appeared on the promo when the woman turned around and went, like that, it appeared that they didn't know that these young men were the sons of all the other women. So the women turn around and realize, oh my God, that's my kid. He's going to see me getting laid by some 20-something little fraternity punk.
How about if he's in the cabana next door?
These 20-year-old macho guys. Boom, boom, I mean, oh my God. So here's my question: if you, I have a feminine side. If you were one of those women, and you were at the thing, and you were excited about meeting a 25-year-old guy who was going to love you and have fun with you, even if it's just a weekend, what the hell, just having fun, good for you. And you turn around, and oh my God, your son is there, and he's going to be seeing this whole thing. What would you do? Would you say, oh God, I guess this is going to be interesting, or would you leave? Could you do it?
I think this is, it depends on what generation you are and where you were raised. Californians would have no problem with this.
I can't wait to see the reaction of the women. Maybe somebody does. I don't know. I haven't read anything about the show. But maybe somebody does bolt and say, oh, I can't be doing this. Or maybe one of the sons says, oh, I didn't know about, I don't know. But again, I can't imagine the mental, unless they just have no stand, they just don't care.
No, they don't care.
I think this is probably the latest social media thing. It's just, everybody's doing whatever you want. So I suppose, but anyway, I couldn't. It makes me creepy.
Cameron, this generation is literally taking their kids to doctors to have their parts lopped off because it makes them popular with their friends. Yeah. You think they have any qualms about having sex with their mom's friend?
And they're allowing strip shows by transvestites in schools and parking areas. Parks and recreation centers.
Harvard has a course now teaching doctors and nurses about how to spot
Yeah.
transgender infants.
Yeah.
Infants.
Infants, yeah.
It's insanity.
Anyway, one more TV thing, if you don't mind. I thought it was pretty funny. As you know, I tend to watch Tucker Carlson pretty much every night. And last night he was talking about the egg shortage. You know, there's an egg shortage.
Why?
I don't know.
How can there be an egg shortage in Georgia?
Well, because they I don't know. There's a thing and it's disease and they had to kill them. I don't know. There's the thing, but there's an egg shortage. Okay, so there's an egg shortage and the price is going up, everything else. So Tucker had on the lady he refers to as the chicken lady, and she's a hot blonde. She's probably 35 and gorgeous, and and she's in a chicken house and she's holding her pet chicken. She's been on a lot. She says, chickens are pets too.
No, they're not.
Well, I know, but anyway, she's hysterical. She's witty, funny, sharp. She's a hot chick. I mean, she's a flamboyant, platinum blonde with wild hair and holding chickens, and there's chicken coops all around her. And she's, Harvey, you kill it, like that. Okay, so they're talking, and Tucker says, well, how do you keep the roosters from killing each other? Because roosters are very aggressive together. And she says, oh, if you raise them by hand, they're fine. And he says, now, are people confused about who actually lays the eggs? And she said on TV, I swear to God, she says, oh, Tucker, everybody knows that roosters don't lay eggs. No shit. And so she said, I really know roosters don't lay eggs. No shit. And Tucker went, he was trying not to laugh, and he was holding in a smirky pucker. It was hysterical. But again, it's cable. It's not, it's not network TV. And even if it was, it's not, there's nothing you could do about it. Nobody would do it. But still, when's the last time you heard somebody on a international broadcast saying, talking about roosters saying that? Anyway, I thought that was pretty
Mark
funny.
says it's a bird flu.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I heard there was
It's
a bird.
not like they can't replace chickens pretty easily.
Well, they just get more chickens. I don't know. Are there more
They
chickens
breed like
everywhere?
chickens.
Jesus. Anyway.
Dirty, foul birds.
I know it's not right. It's definitely not right. Oh.
Enough chicken talk.
Okay, we're done. Now, let's do some. You want to do some newsy stuff?
Yes.
And you want to do any personal thing first, or any goof stuff or anything? You want to talk about your secret society?
No, do your.
Okay.
Yeah, we should get to the Biden.
Okay. The latest is, as I'm driving here to the podcast this morning at El Podcast Studio, Flounder sends over the latest down the wire. Not only did President Pervert, the child sniffer who showers with daughter, not only did he have a second location of secret documents, classified secret documents hidden away for his own personal perusal, he had the second batch discovered in his personal home garage next to his Corvette.
Who found these?
His lawyers. So many questions. Okay, I mean, there's so many questions.
One question. Who exactly in the Democratic Party is setting him up to ease him out?
Well,
because this is the excuse.
Okay, now, there's about 9 that all are related together. First of all, the first location was discovered before the November elections. Yeah. They did not release the information for obvious reasons. It was a hidden secret and a cover-up. And those documents apparently involved communications and information about Iran and Ukraine. Now, who wouldn't like to see what he kept secret of Ukraine documents concerning maybe his son's payments or his work with the Ukraine? You know what I mean? When he called for the prosecutor to be fired and all that kind of stuff. I mean, oh my God, talk about collusion and a cover-up. And so now finally, the Attorney General, I guess, has had to appoint an investigator. The GOP wants intelligent officials to come in and do a damage assessment on this thing like they did with Donald Trump. And don't forget, President Pervert, the crime chief, was the one who called Donald Trump's decision irresponsible to have his records kept at his Mar-a-Lago place. Biden's personal attorneys were clearing out the offices. Okay. What led somebody, first of all, who said go get the documents? When did they say it? Why did they say it? Who did they send? And why did they send lawyers instead of, whatever?
The FBI.
Yeah. Which is fishy in itself, by the way. Or somebody from the archives department, the people where the things are supposed to go to. Call that guy from Washington and say, we have some stuff here, you can sort through them. I mean, whatever. Anyway, but those are like 4 or 5 questions before you even begin to say what's in there. I mean, those are all things that need to be answered. What are the documents? What do they show? What do they mean? And then all of a sudden the Democrats are going nuts. Republicans also are keeping at least one part of their word, their long-promised investigation into the Biden family, and they're doing it. House Republicans voted to open an investigation. They are demanding information from the Treasury Department, former Twitter executives, and if they can get subpoenas from the Treasury Department to investigate those, 140 or something check marks about suspicious banking fraud around the world with Hunter Biden's company and the Biden family company. The people who explained this when I saw it the first time were saying most businesses never have one of these check marks. I forgot what they call it. It's a financial transcript, flagging a suspicious activity. Most businesses in their entire lives never get one. Doing all the banking businesses do with all the internet, never get one. Those who do maybe get one in their entire career. Hunter Biden's got 140. I mean, come on.
Red flag.
These are oh Jesus, this doesn't look right. Oh, in the world banking, 130 or 40, I forgot what the number is, 140 or something or other. So they're investigating that. They are also going to be investigating Twitter executives involved in the story from the New York Post about Hunter Biden and the younger son and the suppressing of the laptop. All that stuff is going to be they're saying they're going to do it, and they're going to do it. Now, the problem is, nothing will happen because they're never going to pass a law because of it unless they can convince somebody to file some charges. But if they try to pass legislation, it might pass in the Congress, but it'll never pass in the Senate thanks to Georgia.
All right. Did they find it in his closet?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know if they've gone through Joe Biden's underwear drawer yet. Like, didn't Clinton hide some, or didn't Barack Hussein hid some stuff in his closet? Didn't he? His sock drawer or something? Or
well,
Clinton?
If they did, it wouldn't be a good a closet as Atlanta Custom Closets.
Well, that's where they should have gone.
ClosetPro.net, 404-255-0589. It's Atlanta Custom Closets. Ladies love closets. Joe Biden obviously loves closets. In fact, he puts his stuff in there. If you want a nice closet to hide your classified stuff, it's Atlanta Custom Closets, ClosetPro.net.
All right, so I guess you've already talked about how he was vice president, so technically he's not allowed to declassify
Well, there's
him.
the other thing. Donald Trump had the legal authority, whether he did it properly or not, we don't know. But Donald Trump, as president, had the authority to take and look at documents, to declassify documents as part of every president's same procedure. When they take documents to put them in their library or see what's there, how they're going to write their memoirs, they all do it.
Yep.
They all do it. And they went after Trump with SWAT teams. Remember this? They had 24 SWAT teams. They had planes flying over Mar-a-Lago. They had boats with armed gunmen with weapons of war in the freaking bay outside his house, where I've been, by the way. And I mean, this is unbelievable. And with President, Joe Nostra, they're letting the entire thing go. Although they're now, because it's in his garage, this makes it a whole nother level. But here's an example. The Democrats are going nuts about this. Mike Luck Hates Americovich, the suspected Al Qaeda terrorist propaganda leader, writes political cartoons and hate speech for the Al Jazeera Constitution. His political cartoon today has three panels. The first panel shows Donald Trump in a black mask and a costume, bank robber costume, racing out of a bank holding money bags. Donald Trump just robbed a bank. And Luck Hate Americovich, the suspected Al Qaeda terrorist, says, if Trump did this, and then the second panel shows President showers with daughter at an ATM machine. He has a card. He's just taking money out of an ATM. If Donald Trump did this, rob a bank, and Biden did this, use the ATM, then he'd say this. A Republican would say, they both made withdrawals. So they're trying to say that what Biden did is just, it's not so big deal. He had records. Okay, he had secret records. But he's a vice president. He was a civilian. And again, that's the other thing. He was not in office at the time. He just had records. He's fine. But Donald Trump,
nuclear codes, remember? And it turned out he did not have nuclear codes.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I mean, but that's how the Democrats are going to get away with this. That's
Pure
right.
propaganda.
And there's the only mention of anything about the documents is one small story in the Al Jazeera Constitution. That's it. I mean, it's just, and until we stop that,
It won't stop.
I know. I just
It
I
won't
can't
stop till all the media, mainstream media, are dead. When they're out of business, when the Times goes out and the Post goes out and they all go out and corruption runs rampant, it'll be their fault because no one pays attention to them anymore.
Well, we used to have two major newspapers. One of the major cities in America with two major newspapers, a morning edition and an afternoon edition, like every other major city had. Not anymore, and this one's going out by later this year. No more paper; it'll be on your phone. You have to go get it on the computer. A couple, as we keep on kind of the theme here. The podium princess. She's black. She's gay. She's a girl. Oh God, it's so good to have her. If you haven't seen her in action at the podium, every afternoon she gives a press briefing. Honestly, it's worth your while to either Google it or tune into Fox, and like 2 or 3 or 4 in the afternoon at some point, she's doing a news conference, and they frequently go live. And Peter Doocy is now finally being joined by a couple other reporters who are saying, now, wait a minute. He said he called President Trump irresponsible. What does he have to say about this? Well, I'm not going to get into that now. I mean, it's just the whole thing.
Here, I got the audio here.
Oh, okay, here, yeah, listen to this. This is Regine Vatin. She's black. She's gay.
How can President Biden be trusted moving forward with America's secrets?
Because his lawyers, his team did the right thing.
But he had a closet with
His
classified
lawyers
information in
did
it
the
that
right.
they found. How did it get there?
Again.
Did the
He
lawyers
did.
do
He
the
was
right thing?
surprised that the records were there. He spoke to this
But they were
personally.
there.
He was surprised that the records were there, and when his lawyers found out and his team found out that they were there, they turned it over to the archives. And now,
what's wrong with that?
After we were through with them, doing what we wanted.
Oh my God! And by the way, she caught herself. She also has been getting in arguments with some of the reporters, like Peter Doocy, who are just not taking it. And she was saying, well, there's no reason for you to get nasty about this, and we need some kind of a person. Did they forget the days when Jim Acosta and all those others were screaming at Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Katie McEnany and all these other people? I mean, it's unbelievable, the viciousness with the freaking media. And now she thinks she has the right to tell the reporters not to get aggressive? Please, you're killing me. And she caught herself, by the way, when she said, at one point she said, well, this is all being reviewed. It's all being reviewed. They've told her not to say investigated, because that sounds like an investigation. So we're reviewing. We're reviewing. We're reviewing. Freaking lions. She looks like Little Orphan Annie, by the way. What's the thing with the makeup and the red curly? I mean, geez.
They want to be. You must treat me equal. Treat me equal.
God.
Oh, quit yelling at me. I'm a girl.
It's just unbelievable.
Double standard.
Yeah. Disgusting. And by the way, where are all the pictures of the FBI that they went into Biden's garage? Where are the pictures that they displayed all the secret documents? Remember they did that for Donald Trump? The FBI actually staged. Now this was the brown shirt, jackboot, Nazi inside Christopher Wray's special division of Trump-hating FBI agents, the SS division. And they actually took secret documents. Again, they weren't found this way. They took the documents out of their containers and put them on a table and arranged them so you could see the word secret or special or whatever, and then took pictures of them, released them to the press so that we all say, oh, God, Donald, look at, oh, God, Donald. The FBI did that.
Yeah.
They staged it. So where's the staging of the Biden documents? Showing what he lied about and covered up. And incidentally, those documents, they had things about Iran nuclear deal and Ukraine. I mean, my God.
That's how much they know. They have control of everything because they so blatantly are one-sided, and they don't care.
They don't care because they're going to get away with it.
Yeah,
Just same way Hillary Rodham P. Stinky Fart Cabbage got away with it. Jake Sullivan, who helped her start the coup, got away with it. The beginning of the Russian fake Steele dossier was Jake Sullivan and Hillary, and they got away with it. Yeah. Oh, my God. Anyway, I wonder whether it went through Dr. Jill's underpants drawer so they can arrest her like they arrested...
How about her trying to get rid of gas stoves, and it shows every one of those Democrats use a gas stove.
And they had one at the Biden's place, so then they said, oh, well, we really can't get rid of that. I mean, what about...
They're not getting rid of gas. You know how much gas reserves we have in this country? What are they talking about?
This is another distraction where people are all of a sudden talking about gas stoves, and now you've got the industry of the gas stove associations coming out with and so now the media is covering the gas stove issue as though this is going to happen. It's like the metric system and everything, it's all this kind of crap. But again, I suppose they should arrest her and going through her underpants drawer like wasn't it Putty Tat, Barack Hussein Putty Tat, or Bill Clinton had documents in his underpants drawer in his bedroom. And of course, they wrestled him to the ground and arrested him and put him in solitary confinement. Oh, no, they didn't. I forgot. They didn't put him in federal prison for violating no, I'm sorry, no charges. It'll be fine. It's a cover-up, secrets. Republicans are finally going to investigate, but again, if they try to pass a law, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But again, it's probably just a coincidence. Right? Wouldn't you say that?
A lot of those going on.
Pete, in fact, you have this is very important. This is a documentary concerning a brand new. I guess this is a federal program.
It's a commercial.
It's
a private company.
Oh, it's a private. This is even better. Leaving it up to the private companies, the private industry in America, helping us all deal with some of the major issues that are happening, which we just really can't explain and really don't deserve to blame on something obvious.
People dropping all over the place, and it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, but who are you going to blame? Maybe we shouldn't blame. Well, let's find out. Flounder, if you would, sir. New commercial.
Are you or a loved one suffering from a medical coincidence? You want proper medical care, but you don't want people sniffing around asking a whole bunch of questions about what might be causing your problem. At the Kaufman Institute for Coincidence, we won't look into the cause of your heart or other problem. We'll just fix it. That's right. We promise to only look at your symptoms. We won't get all curious looking for causes, because that could get your employer or your doctor into some legal hot water. And nobody wants that. At Kaufman, we understand that coincidence is now the leading cause of death.
Hey, we've got another coincidence over here.
If we want to operate at the speed of science, there's no time for looking for causes. No pesky questions about drugs or vaccines you may have been given. At Kaufman, we specialize in the effects and leave the causes to the conspiracy theorists. And let's be honest, we know the cause anyway. It was a coincidence, right? For each new patient, Kaufman's talented team of doctors strap on their blinders and look directly at the problem area, usually the heart, just like the CDC recommends. Our main campus now treats myocarditis, blood clots, heart arrhythmia, stroke, heart attack, magnetic skin, difficulty breathing, full body blisters and burning, convulsions, kidney failure, memory loss, cancer, sudden death, and much, much more. Give your coincidence the attention it deserves, but not the wrong kind of attention. At Kaufman. Schedule your appointment today at kaufmancoincidence.com and receive a doctor's note with a real science-y sounding explanation to provide to your anti-vax friends, proving to them it was definitely not the vaccine that caused your coincidence. Kaufman, because coincidences happen pretty much all the time.
And by the way, it's video too. If you want to watch it, it's really funny.
Done.
Well, beautifully done. You know who to credit for that?
I have no idea.
We just showed up and you found. Oh God, I love it. Anyway, Coincidence Institute. One more kind of a related thing. Okay, again, I can't keep bringing this up, but again, you can blame Georgia for never having a law for the next several years. Well, okay, but here's the thing. I got a message on Facebook from a very nice lady who listens to the show, and she was saying, Kimmer, there's no way I would have voted for Herschel Walker. He's as dumb as a box of rocks. And she just couldn't vote for somebody she thought was so dumb, da-da-da-da-da. Now, as a result of that decision, laws that most of us would want to have passed will not get passed because Georgia went liberal. And I give you this example. Yesterday in Congress, this may be, and I'm not an abortion guy. I'm not an abortion activist, pro or con. I don't know what to think about abortion. Is it justified homicide? Should you force a woman to have a baby she doesn't want? I mean, I don't know. All those things. Okay, but as an issue, here's what happened in Congress yesterday. This may be one of the most important philosophical decisions you should mark down and remember. In Congress yesterday, there were 212 Democrats. They were voting on a bill from the Republicans which would require doctors to perform life-saving exercises on a baby born during a live abortion.
Born alive.
Born alive. If a baby is being, if a woman is having an abortion, and the baby comes out breathing, the Republicans wanted to have a law that says you can't stop a doctor from performing life-saving incidents. You know, doctors should perform life-saving incidents, and you can't stop a doctor from performing life-saving incidents for a live birth abortion, okay? One Democrat voted absent, one Democrat voted present. Every single other 210 voted to forbid a doctor from saving a live birth abortion. Make him die.
Representative Suzanne Bonamici, Democrat of Oregon, quote, protecting babies born alive during failed abortions is extremist, dangerous, and unnecessary, end quote.
I can't believe it.
How
I remember, months ago, a year ago, whenever it was, a West Virginia governor sat down with some people doing interviews and said, well, with a doctor, his medical chief, it was at Virginia, before the Republican took over.
Northam.
Yeah, Northam. And he said, well, I remember him saying this, he said, well, it's very clear medically we want to do the right thing. So if a baby is born and the mother decides, it's supposed to be an abortion and she really doesn't want it, then we keep the baby comfortable until we decide, how to end its life.
Then what do you do? Strangle it? What do you do then?
Oh my God! I remember him saying we try to keep it comfortable while we make the final decision.
Before we kill it.
Jesus! And every single Democrat congressman voted to stop a doctor from saving a baby.
It's fucking evil.
I mean, I honestly, and this is not an abortion thing. This is a baby. It's no longer an abortion if it's breathing. It's I mean, Jesus.
Keep your legs closed, use protection, make him use the protection, get him snipped, but enough of this using abortion because you're so fucking lazy and stupid.
As a child limiting exercise. And again, thanks to Georgia, Democrats now, I guarantee you Warnock would vote for the same thing as liberals. Right? He believes in abortion.
Yeah.
Wife knocker.
He thinks Jesus believes in abortion.
He doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, not only does he believe that, he also doesn't understand, the whole resurrection, Easter. Well, again, I guess there's I guess you could go either way.
It's not, if only there was 2,000 years of writings.
Right. Maybe he never rolled that rock away. I don't know. It could have been a windstorm. I mean, maybe somebody stole the body. A lot of things could have happened. I wasn't there. Were you there?
I was not there. I admit it.
Oh, my sweat. Thank you for voting two liberals for Georgia who are going to be, that's your future. I mean, that's why it makes a difference. I'm sorry you think Herschel's dumb. You don't think Herschel Walker would be taking directions from a staff in the Senate? They elected a monster in Pennsylvania.
It's over. Let it go.
I know. I can't let it go because it's your fault. You voted for the liberal.
Over. It's over.
It's not over. I'm never going to. It's over. I'll say it's over.
It's not over.
Did the Japanese stop when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? I thought he was in pre-med. What's the difference?
Who's with me?
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to sit here and have you badmouth the United States of America. Gentlemen!
6 years of college down the drain.
What'd he say? And remember the meme thing that the guy came out and used political faces where Ted Cruz was the one walking off saying blowjob. Remember, they used the dancing heads of politicians of the audio of them walking. Anyway, those things are funny. And somebody just sent another one out the other day. By the way, I'll send it to you if you didn't see it. Okay, now the new Congress. Excuse me. A lot of reaction to the new Congress. And again, on Twitter, it's kind of fun looking at Twitter, which I do like once a day, maybe twice a day, just see what's going on, because they're now allowing conservative comments, and it's a lot more open. It's it's the way it's supposed to be, a vessel. One congressman said, Speaker McCarthy confirms Adam Schiff for brains, Eric Swalwell, and Ilhan Omar are getting kicked off. Intel and Foreign Affairs committees. Promises made, promises kept. I like this new House majority. Omar, Swalwell, Schiff for brains can all start a band or something now that they won't be on committees. What should they call their band? Bo Snerdley. And by the way, this is Rush Limbaugh's birthday.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's also your boys.
Well, there's even more. I got more birthday lists here. It's Rush Limbaugh's birthday. It's also Kirstie Alley's birthday. Would have been 72 today. And Ronnie Spector. She died last year. She would have been 78. She said Phil Spector used to torture her and prevented her from having a good career. Anyway, we'll get more birthdays later on, but it's Rush's birthday. And Bo Snerdley, his former aide, said Ilhan Omar, Swalwell, and Schiff for Brains booted from their committee assignments. Good start. Now let's go get Joe Biden, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi's tax returns released for the public, and then investigate the Dems' involvement in January 6th on Ashley Babbitt Day. Another one, Swalwell can't get a... Again, think about this. Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the private sector. I'm not going to give him a government security clearance. Schiff has lied to the American people. That's what McCarthy was saying. The GOP House should release all the evidence related to Eric Swalwell and the Chinese spy he was banging. It's time to start playing by their rules. Looks like Swalwell's about to have way more time to search Tinder for Chinese spies. Kevin McCarthy will boot him and sneaky Adam Schiff for brains. I add that 4 brains, by the way. From the Intelligence Committee, plus Jew-hating Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. Great promise to keep. Well, how could they put her? She's a hater. She's a vicious anti-Semitic hater on the Foreign Relations Committee. Not anymore, but, I mean, it figures. Scott says, hey, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Good riddance, good start to repairing America. And then one more quick related thing. A reporter is apparently going to be suing Adam Schiff for brains after documents at Twitter reveal that Schiff tried to get him banned from Twitter. Matt Taibbi's Twitter files revealed Schiff lobbied to suspend journalist Paul Sperry from Twitter. Sperry is a senior reporter for RealClearInvestigations.com and a New York Post columnist. He said that he was targeted by Schiff because of his reporting on Democrat sources in President Trump's first impeachment trial. Quote, so Schiff didn't like the fact I outed his anonymous whistleblower as a partisan Democrat. Remember that? And Schiff also got caught trying to make arrangements to get the phony audio tape of Donald Trump and the prostitutes whizzing on him in Russia someplace. Remember that? He tried to get that tape, which doesn't exist, of course. He's a holdover from the Obama White House, working in the Trump White House, and Schiff didn't like the fact that I exposed the whistleblower's prior relationship with a key member of Schiff's impeachment staff. I was a thorn in Schiff's side, and he was angry. We called it outrageous and powerful, trying to silence me. Outrageous censorship by a powerful government official, head of the House Intelligence Committee at the time, sworn to protect the First Amendment and free speech and the press and the Constitution, and did exactly the opposite. Schiff's interference affected his ability to do his job for 2 years, and he's thinking about suing for defamation.
Cool. What in the old days where you just got Rocco Moose to break somebody's leg?
I know.
Catch him coming out of a restaurant.
I know it. Should we play that Byron Donald soundbite? Is that of any interest to you guys? He was the black Republican congressman from Florida. He was on MSNBC, and the MSNBC skank said, well, do you really think it's fair, liberal, obviously, do you really think it's fair that you Republicans should be kicking people off committees? I mean, you shouldn't be able to do that.
It's happened every time.
I know. Well, they kicked
Every time the power changes.
Marjorie Taylor Greene got kicked off of all committees. She couldn't go to a meeting.
Do they really think the Democrats should always be on committees all the time, no matter who's in power?
I know. Anyway, do you have that soundbite? It's a fairly quick soundbite, but he really reads her, carves her a new one when he doesn't take any of her crap.
It's a minute, so I can edit it, but it's a minute.
A minute. It's okay. A minute's good. It's good. It's good audio. Yeah. Byron Donald.
Defended and actually have co-sponsored 2 pieces of legislation opposing critical race theory. What is critical race theory in your view?
Oh, critical race theory actually comes from critical theory. And essentially what it does at the graduate level, it talks about the implications of racial policies in the past in American history, their impact on society today.
The impact on law.
Hold on. The issue with critical race theory, if you distill it down into K-12 education, is you do not have the ability to have the detailed conversation of critical race theory at the graduate level. And so here's my question. If it seeps down into K-12 education, is it stuff that students are not prepared to be dealing with? Shouldn't students just be learning about reading, writing, and arithmetic?
And so you don't believe that students should be learning about the
level?
racial history of the country, because critical race theory is not taught. Hold on. Critical race theory is not taught in a single K through 12 school.
That's not true.
One
You're
moment.
changing the
It's a
subject.
legal theory that's taught in law schools. Okay, we're going to have to come back and continue this conversation. We're actually literally out of time. They're telling me you have to go.
Okay.
Critical race theory is not taught in our schools, and learning about racial history.
Well, there's a different soundbite where he talks about the people on the committee. He says, we're just following your lead. The Democrats do this, and now we're doing what the Democrats do. It's very simple.
The Detroit school system bragged about openly doing it.
They're just
lying.
deniers and liars. And of course, but again, they try to deny and lie and then interrupt and interfere. I mean, she did not want him to answer the.
Why did they even go on those shows?
I don't know. A black Republican, they cannot deal with black Republicans.
He's off the plantation. He's off the plantation.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, well, and also I mentioned the other day, the New York Republicans are demanding that their own Republican just got elected, George Santos, quit. They want him to resign before he just now took office 3-4 days ago, and they all want him to quit. They're turning on him, and I which figures Republicans. This is why people in Georgia didn't vote for Herschel Walker. Well, because I'm better than Herschel Walker.
That's 3 times.
I know. I've got. It makes me so freaking
twice.
angry. Well, I'll try to never do it again. He should just have a list of things like, well, I graduated in the top third of my class in law school. I'm the first person to get 3 scholarships. I got arrested with Nelson Mandela once at a civil rights protest and almost got killed in prison. And just do all the Biden lies. Yeah. Just list 8 or 9 of them in the well of Congress. This is what here I'm going to I will admit that I said I was and list all the things that Biden has lied about. Corn pop. I mean, do them all and have him stand up there and say, and I admit I said I saved a guy named Corn Pop, and list them all, and then said, however, oh, that's right, it was the president who did that, so I guess I really shouldn't resign. I'll resign when he does. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. When he quits, I quit.
I'll see you in 2
and
years.
Walk off the freaking podium.
See you in 2
and
years.
Go sit in your office. Yeah, answer letters from your constituents. Just spend all your time taking care of your constituents. You don't have to worry about going to all these meetings. Just take care of the people at home.
Let it pass.
God, I tell you, that's how you should handle it. Now, one thing we do want to send well wishes to First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. She apparently has had a cancerous lesion removed from her right eye. She had another cancerous lesion from her chest area, and there's a third lesion on her left eye, which they're investigating right now. The newly discovered one on her chest and one eye were both confirmed as basal cell carcinoma. They excised it with margins and was sent for microscopic examination. She's in good spirits, has facial swelling, but she's got some cancer things happening in both eyes and something in her chest. And so we wish her well and hope that she...
eye cancer is kind of rare, isn't it?
Well, it didn't say it was retinoblastoma. If it was retinoblastoma, she's not going to... I mean, I told you the story about the little girl that I kind of got close to with her mother, was going to get married, and they got married so she could, before she lost both eyes to retinoblastoma, and she died about 6 or 8 months or a year later after that. But anyway, it doesn't say that. It says basal cell carcinoma, which I assume is different. And I assume that's more localized and it's not the spreading sort of thing. I don't know that, but... and again, whatever. But anyway, we wish her well, and I hope she doesn't, succumb to it. But that's the other thing on the thing. Okay, all right, hold everything. Speaking of medical things, I don't know why I didn't get this. The other day we were talking about Prince Harry. And we mentioned that he was doing the documentaries come out, and he's talking about all the fights and the stuff and the royal family and everything else. The name of his book is Spare. And for some reason, I just didn't make the connection until I read the latest article where he actually says, Prince Harry says, he was only conceived to be a conduit of spare parts for his older brother. Which, holy cow. Now, there's a lot of reaction on Twitter to that.
Yeah.
Harry says he was bred to offer spare organs to William, the heir. And so somebody says, well, if that were the case, why didn't his mother choose the same paternal father?
Yeah.
why was she banging the horse guy instead of her husband if she wanted to come out to match him? Fucking brilliant savage. I love it. Better genes than King's sausage fingers. If this was true, William would have had him harvested for hair plugs already. Hard to believe this guy had a distinguished military career. There's almost a regressive quality to his maturity. If that were true, they would have bred a third prince after noticing the second one was defective. And another episode on When Harry Met Markle. The Queen then the Queen called him the N-word lover, and the rest of the royals played God Save the Queen on kazoos as he walked away crying. Wouldn't his drug and alcohol abuse void his offerings? Gonna be pretty sure William is not gonna want his brother's vajayjay. That's cold. You seen the feet on her? Daniel says, I have 4 younger siblings bred for the same thing. Is not that big a deal. A guy named Elvis Presley tweeted, parts for us, parts are us. Just don't go near the brain area. And donate to be done with the Harry Asparis, a continued annoyance. And one more, can't roll my eyes hard enough for this one. And in the past, British royal family members who weren't the heir and didn't get the castle had to find something else to do, like sail to Jamestown.
Yeah.
That's right.
Go do something.
Do something good for your
Privateer.
life. Why should you just have
invade
somebody
France?
take care of you the rest of your freaking life?
They were all going to invade France.
I know. Speaking of foreign countries, what's this? Do you have something about Canada?
What about Canada?
Something vehicles, cars, trucks?
Oh, in Churchill, Ontario. Not Ontario. Somewhere up there. Churchill, Canada. It's way up by the Arctic.
In Churchill, Canada. I never heard of that.
Way up by the Arctic Circle
Like
and
the
everything.
Yukon or something?
They do something special with their vehicles.
Yeah.
They leave them unlocked everywhere.
Oh, we used to when I was a
Why do they leave them unlocked in Churchill, Canada?
kid. In case it gets really cold, anybody could hide or get in them to hide from bears or something? In the wintertime, if it's cold?
Polar bears.
Really?
If you have to, you can dive into any vehicle, and hopefully they won't crash through the window to get you.
I'll be damned.
But they leave them unlocked.
Well, it makes sense. And I'll tell you, this is true. When I was a kid, when I had my first car, when I was 16, I bought a '53 Chevy for $250. I never left the keys in the car. We never locked our cars. We left the keys in them in case someone wanted to move it or something.
I've always locked.
Well, I'm talking about 1962 or something. But
I started
our
driving
parents,
in the 70s.
I remember being in the store and somebody said to somebody, I think your car's pocketed. I said, oh, go ahead. The keys are under the thing. Go ahead and move it. Or it was just no big deal. In our little community, everybody, anyway.
Lots of bears up there in Massachusetts.
Could be a couple of bears. Could be a couple of damn bears.
So one thing that's circulating around Twitter right now in regards to Biden's garage documents.
Yeah.
Remember in 2020 when they did the thing on his Corvette?
Yeah.
And he drove it around?
Yeah.
You can see the documents when he backs into the car. There's
are you serious?
Now, that's what they're saying. Again, it's a box with documents on it. Now, whether that's the actual documents or not, but they're just saying it's that easy to go in there and back the car out. And classified presidential documents were left there?
It's got to be the reason. I want to know
the thing
who
is,
said go get them, who said where are they,
the
who
DNC.
moved them, who said go get them, and why. And the reason is because the Republican Congress was going to take control and do what they're doing, investigate the Bidens and investigate the whole thing. And they're doing it. They made a promise and they're keeping it. So the Democrats must have known, oh my God, if they are investigating and they find that we are still hiding documents, we're screwed.
They knew they were there.
So we need to say, oh, guess what? We just found these documents before you can accuse us of hiding them.
But why hadn't they moved them right after the election?
Well, the other thing is,
right back in the archives.
Did
documents?
Did Obama give them to him?
Well, that's the other thing.
Because the thing is, he would be the only one who could declassify them to give them to Hunt.
Right.
And again, Rhino made the.
But if he did, they'd have already had that on the news. Obama would have said, no, I took care of that, no problem. But he didn't, so clearly.
But was it made to the
they're
point?
Setting him up, and maybe the Democratic National Committee is trying to get rid of him now. But who wants Carmella?
Well, he's not going to run again, so it's either medical reasons or they're going to find something
he's
else
gonna
to edge him
fall
out.
in the
They're not
shower.
running him again.
There's no way he's going to run for president. No, well, not for anything. He can't do it.
He can't.
I mean, it'd be a laughing stock.
And there's no excuse to hide in your basement this time.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway.
By the way,
I love it.
Jeff Beck dying was kind of a shock yesterday.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. I mentioned other like Rush Limbaugh's dying. Now, I will admit to you that the only time I know anything about Jeff Beck was when I went to the big day out at for 90 for not 96 Rock. It was 96 Rock, whatever. No, it's Sissy, Easy, and Barry. Anyway, but my generation kind of missed him. But I think yours and Flounder's probably. I mean, he started in the 90s. Wasn't he from
the 60s?
He was
the 60s. He was in the Yardbirds before they became Led Zeppelin. Then he left, and Jimmy Page made him Zeppelin.
Yeah.
He was in there with. He was Rod Stewart's guitarist, and by that song, "People Get Ready" is a great song. That with Jeff Beck.
He does an instrumental. He does a beautiful instrumental version of "A Day in a Life" by the Beatles. That's unbelievable.
In fact, he was considered the greatest in the three genres of rock, jazz, and soul. He could play each one just as good, and no one really did something like that. I wasn't a huge Jeff Beck fan, but I liked the stuff I did. Everyone says "Wired" was probably his best album. Should go get that.
Again, I don't know anything. I know the name, and I know that he was in the Yardbirds, and then
but he wasn't a singer.
No, he wasn't a singer.
Like,
Jeff Beck group was. He always had a singer like Stewart.
Or somebody else.
But every time they mention great guitar players, why don't
he
they
was
mention his name?
Oh, he was mentioned. In fact, I think Rolling Stone has him number 5 all time as rock.
Yeah, but what you're hearing about him today is you'd think he'd be the number one.
Right when Johnny Depp won his lawsuit, he went and toured with Jeff Beck for a little bit.
Yeah, Depp. There's a big picture of him together. Oh, and the people. Listen to the people that said things about him here. I'm not going to say what they said, but these are the people that talked about him when the death notice came out. David Gilmour of Pink Floyd. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, who Beck played on one of his. In fact, he said they recorded Danny Boy together. They both loved the song Danny Boy.
Really? Huh.
And Rod Stewart, of course, Mick Jagger, Sammy Hagar, Jimmy Page, Ronnie Wood of the Stones.
All the major stars.
The
of rock
Beatles,
and roll.
Page did it. They all loved him.
See, that's what I mean. But again, if you ask a man of this, even rock and roll fans, the best guitar players of all time, he may not even come up until they start thinking about it. But everybody's saying no. He was the man.
If you're a guitar player, and died of bacterial meningitis in a couple of days.
Was he 74?
He was in his 70s.
Yeah.
Well, now, how do you get bacterial meningitis these days? Where do you get that?
I think it's an airborne virus.
In a pool, or maybe, or
being near somebody who's got it. I think.
And you could be 8 and die from it. Yeah. I mean, it gets you.
Yeah, that's a bummer. And I don't know how long he was sick. A
couple days.
That was it.
Said.
Oh, jeez. Wow. That's not good. Did you hear about the racist word field?
Yeah.
University of Southern California College of Social Work is now eliminating the word field because of the connotation for descendants of slavery. And the connotations are not benign. They're going to change the word in order to ensure the use of inclusive language and practice, according to the new letter. Language can be powerful, unquote, and phrases such as going into the field or field work maybe have connotations for descendants of slavery.
Quitting time.
Jesus. The goal is, of course, to honor and acknowledge inclusion and reject white supremacy, anti-immigrant and anti-blackness ideologies. This is USC.
How's the foreman here, Tara?
How could you say
that? Tells you when it's quitting time. Quitting time.
Oh, my God.
That's just, they're playing their little language games. Tell them, I don't have to play your game.
I can't believe it. The bedrock of our values at USC is the principles to work together to train social work students today who understand and embody social and racial justice.
Do the Trojans play on just the gridiron now? They don't play on the field.
I mean, I can't believe it.
They're insane. It's California. Don't play their game.
You can't even say, well, I'm going to study something in the field of electronics. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was picking
something in the curricula of, I mean, my God. I literally can't believe it. I've never.
They're insane. Just don't play their game.
No, it's just bizarre. There's a rather bizarre story here, which I thought, I don't know why I'm getting a kick out of this story, but in Tennessee, a police officer was fired because she was operating under the assumption that she and her husband had an open marriage. And he was not operating under that assumption.
Why?
Apparently, the police officer was fired after accusations that she was having multiple sexual escapades with many male colleagues, and always would say, well, we have an open marriage. Laverne Police Department in Tennessee, the former patrol officer Megan Hall was having sexual relations with a whole bunch of different male colleagues while on duty. 5 cops got fired, including her. She said, well, I'm in an open marriage, but her husband testified, no. What happened was there was a party, and this police officer, Girl Hall, was making out with a wife of another cop. So the cop girl was making out with a wife of another cop when her husband walked in and said, no, I don't think, that's not that good. They were making out. The husband came in the room, was very upset. They asked about his reaction, and she said, well, we have an open marriage. He said, no, we don't.
Flounder, if you got what's she look like? Not so, well, she probably, with the makeup, she probably is better looking.
Well, she's a girl. Anyway, this is suburban Nashville, and so now there were booze-fueled hot tub parties where she got naked with a bunch of other cops and performed that most wonderful of heavenly gifts by Our Lady.
So she ran a train.
Ran the train, baby. Yeah, and had nude photos and threesomes, and she even bragged about one colleague's BBB.
The sexy part of the Kimmer Show today brought to you by FarmhousePrintingCo.com. So proudly, they have laser engraving, and they'll do anything you want printing-wise. Signs, promotional. What?
Just like Megan Hall.
Signs and promotional items, no minimum order, no setup fees. FarmhousePrintingCo.com right here in Sonoya. Beautiful. Eric and the gang will do your T-shirts. You order 1, you order 1,000. Yeah. They do all the Kimmer Show stuff and all the Holy Crap and sports stuff.
You've seen the quality they did for the rugs and for the stuff I got for Christmas.
We're looking at
family.
it now.
Yeah,
it's amazing
beautiful, stuff. Beautiful stuff. Holy Crap and Sports, best sportscast coming up
over
tomorrow.
100,000 downloads last year.
Wow.
Which is only a quarter of what we get here.
Well, but that's
still
good.
over 100,000. I'm not complaining.
And next one tomorrow, I'm guessing? Or
I think I'll do one
tomorrow.
More.
All right. Now, I sent you a couple of sports sections. I had this. Tell me what you think about this. Sports section, Mark Bradley and the Al Jazeera Constitution, and I shall read.
No.
Is this bad?
He's a good writer.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know whether you two hate each other, so I shouldn't bring it up.
He doesn't even know I exist.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't want to do something if you were going to make you angry. Okay. Mark Bradley writes this. This time a year ago, yours truly labeled Stetson Bennett the greatest story in the history of college football. A revision is required. Stetson Bennett is the greatest story in the history of sports.
Oh, please. Oh, please.
There's exhibit 150,001 of the goofy Bradley hyperbole you're seeing right now. I've counted every overstatement, and it's a lot. Anyway, Michael Jordan, greatest player in any sport ever, right? Michael Jordan played in 6 teams. Stetson Bennett, who came to Georgia as a walk-on, came back to Georgia as a backup, leaves as a first quarterback to engineer consecutive playoff championships. Talked about the number of things. Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls in 4 tries, having been MVP 3. Tom Brady won 7 in 10 tries. Stetson Bennett was 4 for 4 in both CFP wins and MVPs, and it's not as if Georgia had no other offensive players of note. Anyway, he says he's the greatest story in sports.
He's not.
Which sounds a little iffy to me. But obviously, it's a great story.
I've been saying that he's instant college football Hall of Fame, but guess what?
Absolutely.
Guess what? He can't get in right.
Because he wasn't an All-American?
All-American.
Oh, they got to change that rule.
I guarantee you they will change that rule. I guarantee. It's located here in Atlanta. Yeah. It will change. They will change that damn rule.
He's obviously a Hall of Fame.
Obviously college football.
And the rule was if you're not an All-American, you don't even qualify to be in it?
That's so stupid.
Who made that rule?
The College Football Hall of Fame.
But why would you eliminate a whole... Anyway.
See, okay, when you moved out of the hellhole known as South Bend, Indiana, now you're in civilization. Now we can have civilized rules here that no college football.
Yeah.
And you know there are players out there who deserve to be in there that were not All-Americans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a lot, but he's one of them.
Well, there have been... please. Did I mention swapmywhip.com? Swapmywhip.com.
Really?
If you're looking for a ride, you're driving along and you see a car you've always wanted, go to swapmywhip.com and you may find that car and you may find a guy who owns it and wants to trade for yours. Or maybe one car that your buddy has that you tell him about or whatever. In other words, it's a swap meet thing with like-minded car owners looking for a car they've always wanted and you're looking for one you've always wanted. You might find yourself matched up. A better deal than middlemen and salespeople and dealerships and all that kind of stuff. Make your own deal. Check out your own stuff. Swapmywhip.com. And get rid of the middleman entirely. And it's not just cars. It's obviously trucks and SUVs and boats, jet skis, off-road vehicles, probably go-karts. I mean, whatever runs on the road. Swapmywhip.com. And if you go to the coupon code KIMMER, KIMMER, you'll get 180 days of free premium listings on swapmywhip.com.
Hey.
What's that?
I had a series of dreams last night that were just the most bizarre maybe in my life. And
really?
The one I really remember is I was walking somebody's dog, went inside and I looked up and here comes Keith Richards and a friend of his.
Oh, boy.
And the friend's an actor I kind of recognize, British guy. And they come in, and Keith's going around filming little bitty vignettes with people. And I'm thinking the whole time, how can I get Keith Richards to do a promo for the podcast, right? And so he does a little thing, and they start to leave. I said, can I get you to record something on the phone? He goes, yeah, but we have to do it while I'm walking because we're going somewhere. So I can't get the phone to work. And Keith Richards keeps saying, well, obviously you don't have the app to do that. You can't do that. So I do it. It's right here. I just did it. So I'm trying to scroll. Meanwhile, Keith Richards starts bending over. He's got this pain in his left side. And before I could do that, he falls in the lake. So me and the other guy jump in and pull him out, save him because he's going under, and pull him out. And he's got his tongue sticking out, so he doesn't have to breathe through his mouth. He's going to hold his breath by sticking his tongue out of his mouth. That's the weirdest. And so we pull him out, and he at this point, he's like out of it. He can't even talk, and he keeps clutching his side, his left side. And we pull him out of the lake, and I wake up.
Yeah, I don't know that I remember dreams that had that many elements in them.
Oh
I mean, that's a long dream. And they say dreams last like 12 seconds, literally.
Well, I seriously, this last week, I wake up every hour and a half to 2 hours to pee. I don't know what's going on.
Stress from your movie.
Stress from the move or something like that. I wake up every 2 hours. So I'm having a series of dreams, and there was one weird one after another last night.
God, I dream every night, but I almost never remember them. And I don't remember having a complete, usually, there's a thing, you're late to school, and you go around the corner and it's the wrong one and you wake up. I mean, it's like one or two things, but you're like 8 things in it.
They go on and on and on, and we're always traveling somewhere or walking somewhere, going somewhere. We never get there, and it just seems this endless trek to get somewhere.
Well, we all have that one where you're late for class and there's a test and you're not ready.
I'm not late. We're just going somewhere.
You can't find the building and you're late for class and you're in the wrong. We all have those, which means you're not prepared and you're feeling guilty about not doing what you should have been doing.
How about this, Mr. Dreamcatcher?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't spoken to my ex in 37 years. We were laughing about this the other night.
So you have spoken to her?
No. Well, in the dream. She shows up in the dream.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And all of a sudden, we're talking and everything, and I asked her, how come you haven't talked to me in 37 years? And she had some excuse, something like, all of a sudden, we're on a rocket ship on the way to Mars. And it's a futuristic Elon Musk rocket ship, and she starts making out with me.
Oh, boy.
And it was and then I woke up and I had to pee.
Oh, well, maybe. Well, that's a whole nother issue. If you're making out with your ex, I don't know.
But I think this is what happened. We were discussing, because I'm staying with my sister, so me and my nephew and his wife, we stay up late and talking, swapping old family stories. So my sister goes, when's the last time you talked to her? I said, I got 37 years. And then earlier that night, I had seen Keith Richards gave out a video of Happy New Year to everybody. Happy belated New Year. So that's probably why I dreamed of both of those.
Yeah, I'll be damned.
Thank God I wasn't making out with Keith Richards or something.
No, that would be a whole different issue there entirely. Oh, let's see. By the way, coming up, some movie trivia. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
You have some movie trivia.
You want to do it now, or you want to wait?
No, we'll wait for.
Okay.
I think a little bit, if you don't mind. Now, what's the secret society? You mentioned. Are you a member of a new clan or something?
I'm about to. I'm going to ask you guys' opinion on this. Whether I should. I got an email from a gentleman that I don't know. Okay, out of the blue, and he has invited me to make a phone call to join this illustrious group. It's called. A guy named Bill wrote this to me. The Illuminati.
Well, wait a minute. That's the Knights Templar people. Those are the albino murder killer priests.
No, those are Catholics.
Well, that's what I mean.
Illuminati is more of spiritual enlightenment, and joining the Illuminati simply means that you are spiritually enlightening yourself. Yeah, and it's a lot of misspellings, too. Apply to become an Illuminati member to get money, promotion, protection, and have influence through your career. Be part of a global elite society.
Oh, we should do that.
Be part of something bigger, a reward generously for it. More information, reply yes. Our mission to free your minds from the chains of poverty, financial stress they have been confined to. Life is immortality. Realize your potential. Signed, the Illuminati.
Well, will they take a company check, a Kimmer Media check?
So apparently Garland is assigned a special counsel for...
Oh, well, that's a good step.
So, yeah.
But he had to.
Well, at this point, he hates Biden.
Yeah,
I mean,
he had to. Can you imagine when he found out? If somebody must have told him, he probably is the one who said, "Go get the stuff." But at some point, somebody had to tell somebody. By the way, President Stupid's got all these secret documents in his private places, and you can imagine Garland said, "Oh, God,
Wait
you
a minute.
idiot!"
Of all the things, this warrants a special prize.
Well, he had to because he did it for Trump.
The laptop doesn't get one.
Right.
The cover-up doesn't get one.
Because Trump didn't have a laptop
Epstein
issue.
didn't get one.
Because Trump didn't have. Anyway, if it had happened to Trump, they have to do it to Biden.
Well, the other thing
they don't have
is
to do the laptop because Trump didn't have it. They didn't have to be fair with a laptop.
It's now that Republicans have the House, will it be easier for these special counsels to happen?
The House will,
Pete was just saying, the laptop and things like that.
The House is, now the Republican House. But again, it's not going to go anywhere in the Senate, but it'll be important. And that's the main. We got to get investigations going just like they're doing. They've already started too. The Biden family. And
the other thing is Democrats are saying, well, the minute they got control of the House, they're not doing anything about inflation. They can't do anything about inflation because they passed the omnibus bill.
The 1.7
so that means
trillion.
the year is spent till November.
Yeah.
Or it's funded. It's funded till November.
That's right. Yeah. Next fall.
Sophia says.
Yeah.
Brandon says, sounds like Pete got into Flounder's stash. And Sophia says, smart people have complicated dreams.
Oh, well, that's true. I'll bet that's true.
Yeah.
Which goes to say, well, I only have like 2 stagers.
I guess I need to go check my stash.
While I was cleaning out some drawers, I found something I believe you gave me a long time ago. It was like half of a pill of something in a plastic bag.
A gummy from
gummy.
Something
Colorado.
like that. And I looked at it, I go, I have no clue. Now, in my younger days, I might have said,
Take
what
it.
the hell?
Try it.
Take it.
Okay.
You know, that little
like,
devil on your
this must have
shoulder,
been-
take it.
This must have been my second or third week board hopping with you guys, and I'd finally gotten comfortable with Hangman and everything. And I'd mentioned I had some gummies, and Chad went and told you, and I went to your office. We ended up eating some before the show, and Pete was like, all right, you three, you have to behave. And
fat chance. A bunch of lawbreakers. Oh, speaking of lawbreakers, this has got to be embarrassing in Cherokee County on Cumming Highway at the K Jewelers. The other night, 11:30 at night, just before midnight, alarm goes off. The K Jewelers, Cherokee County, Cumming Highway. Cops show up. Front door's closed, back door's closed, no windows broken, everything's fine. You say, well, obviously there's nothing going on here. They looked and checked the property, went around the location, did all the stuff they're supposed to do, and nothing there, so they left. Later that following morning, there was another message that, yes, there was a robbery. Apparently, the thieves went up on top of the roof and cut a hole in the roof. And they stole, God knows, it was K Jewelers, and they escaped with an unknown amount of merchandise, which means everything.
They don't check the roof?
Well, how can you get up? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Very
think about how you
easily.
get up to the roofs.
You go to the back and you climb up one of those ladders.
Well, anyway, but I mean, I guess from now on, if there's a burglar alarm and nobody's around, you better go up on the roof.
Up on the roof.
And again, if it had gone off when they had gone in, they would have caught him. They were probably in the store when the cops showed up.
Was Barney on duty then?
Well, but think about it. If the alarm went off, it means that the alarm was set off by them going into the store, which means when the cops got there, they were in the store.
Like Tom Cruise, they're floating above the ground.
Above the little green lights, the little zapping lights inside of things. Oh, my God. The new Mega Millions jackpot, 1.35, or probably more than that now, billion.
No, it's 1.3 at the moment.
1.3 billion. And again, I mentioned the numbers, four what do they call them? Not teenagers. A fraction. What do you call the fraction? Oh, my God.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
The number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Integers.
Huh?
Integers.
No, but they're all
prime numbers.
No, they're all oh my God.
13, 14,
no idea what you're trying to
they're
Arabic numerals?
Oh my God. I can't. I'm such a mental block about they call when they're all low numbers. They're all teenage numbers. It's like being a teenager, and then after 19, you're no longer a teenager. Anyway, I thought that was whatever. And how about a quick Dear Abby? Can we do a quick Dear Abby?
Quick Dear Abby.
Dear Abby, this is kind of a cultural thing to me. I'm a sophomore. This is important. I'm a sophomore in high school. I recently got into a relationship. This isn't my first rodeo. Okay, sophomore, new relationship, not my first rodeo when it comes to this type of stuff. But in this instance, the guy I'm dating has never been in a relationship before. This is his first time. Because I've done this before, I know what to do in certain situations and understand social cues. How do I go about teaching him about certain aspects in a relationship? Like, how do I get him to make the first move and things like that? Okay, sophomore, been in this kind of thing before. She's an old hand at this as a sophomore in high school, and she talks about a relationship that I assume that's not just the guy carrying her books to the school bus, right? Anyway, Dear Abby says, don't pressure him. Remember, everyone advances at their own rate. If what you want is a kiss, ask him for one. With a little help from you, I'm sure he'll figure it out. That's what she's talking about.
She's a sophomore. She's already that big of a whore?
That's the first thing I thought.
Seriously, that girl's go.
Is that normal?
That it probably is now.
I'll bet it is. I'll bet.
She's acting like she's 25.
She's taking, of course, we know that girls mature quicker than boys, and so girls have always been kind of the,
always.
But still, a sophomore in high school, she's been in this rodeo before, been in relationships, and wants him to make that.
That's not the answer that she's given her. The answer is you're much too young to be worrying about shit like this. You worry about your school, and then you get a good job, and then worry about guys.
Tell your mother you're a tramp, and you need to, concentrate on your future.
Tramp.
Jesus. Mrs. Crane, I'm looking at you. You tried to hide. You're a tramp.
A slatter, a trollop.
I mean, honestly, I'm sick about this. It's just horrible.
Dear Abby did that girl a disservice. That's not how she should have answered her.
I'll bet sophomore girls in high school, sophomores
they're not virgins.
Not virgins anymore.
Oh, no. Damn it. Where were we when we were sophomores?
And again, what's that, 15, 16, 15 and 14, 15, 16. And there's already nothing to save for your marriage. Anyway.
Our considerable shock brought to you by, are you tired of arriving to surprises at your weekend cabin?
I was going to go up there for the Kimmer Media weekend cabin, and last time somebody would vandalize a place, we don't know what to do.
Well, if you have a mountain home you're having trouble maintaining, call North Georgia Intendancy. They can manage your North Central Georgia vacation, weekend, or rental house so you can relax at yours. Visit us at ngaintendancy.com or call them 770-595-6664. That's 770-595-6664, ngaintendancy.com. And you know how stupid I am? I left a message with somebody yesterday. Yeah. And he said, leave your name and your phone number. I said, my name's Pete Davis, blah, blah, and my phone number is...
You forgot your phone number?
Oh, crap. What is my phone?
Well, you never call yourself.
Hey, I'm going, hold on a second. I know it. I never called it. Hold on. And it went, beep, Thank you for leaving a message.
Oh, yeah. Oh, mercy. That can't be good. I'm going to do a little, when I get to my history thing, I'm going to do that a little bit later on here with the thing there. Now, what's this about a Hall of Famer and horses?
Oh, yeah, okay. This came up when I was doing my show yesterday or 2 days ago, and I forgot to tell you about it, so I'll tell you about it right now. January 10th, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
In 1907, John McGraw, you know him?
Yeah.
New York Giants, great manager. Saved the day. He prevented a runaway team of horses from injuring 2 women on the street. The fiery manager jumped in front of the wayward steeds, grabbed the reins, and brought them to a stand. 1907, runaway horses on the streets of Los Angeles.
Wow. Can you imagine? Well, I've seen pictures, you've seen video, some video, and a lot of still pictures of what those streets were like. But of course, nobody had street lights and stuff. I mean, and mud. And
can you imagine New York City with all the stables?
No,
that
God.
whole industry went away in 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years. I mean, there was a stable on every other corner.
Yeah. And there go wagon wheels. I mean, everything, top hats. I mean, think of all the things that disappeared in that whole, 10-year period, probably, All those things that left forever. Wow. And now, what's this about magic mushrooms?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
Is this a cooking thing, or is this...
This maybe explain my dreams.
No.
The magic mushrooms, someone decided... Now, how did we decide on mushrooms? It's like the oyster. Who was walking on the
first guy to
shore
eat that
and
thing
said,
in
I'm going to pick that rock up, crack it
Yeah.
open, and suck the snot out of it?
Yeah, no, I would never. Or lobsters. My God. Who would want to eat a crawfish or a lobster?
If you're hungry, you're hungry.
Well, with all the... it's all
you have to
shell.
crack it open and... Yeah.
But who would have thought there'd be something in there?
Yeah, looks like a big roach.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't stop thinking about people that first ate mushrooms. They found they just had to go through trial and error. Like, this one tastes like beef. And this one killed Brian the other day. And this one made me see God for a week.
Remember, there was a famous documentary about a guy who was I think he was a college kid, and he was exploring. He went up into the wilderness. I can't remember the nature of why this is a famous story. It was a famous case of a guy. And he was writing, I guess they found his diaries or whatever. And he survived and mistakenly ate the wrong kind of mushroom and wrote down, I ate the wrong kind of mushroom and I can't, and he had no way of getting out of it and going to, civilization or anything. He said, I'm going to die because I ate this stupid mushroom.
We have a former coworker friend who says he put himself through Georgia Southern by at night going out to cow pastures and picking
Really?
the right kind
Yeah.
and selling them.
I'll bet that, I'll bet. Somebody I know, somebody we're working with. Why can't you say his name? That's bad.
He's still working. We're
So
not.
what? Well, is that thievery or something? Who cares?
I wouldn't. You
Oh,
never
we did.
know.
Okay.
Today.
All right. Well, again, I don't care. I'm just kind of
I
curious.
got a fever.
I got a tumor. And weather on television. Something about weather on television. You mentioned.
Weather on
did you already do
television?
that? You said something about weather on TV.
The Weather Channel has come out. We talked about coincidences and medical coincidences.
Yes.
The Weather Channel kind of thinks, it's these high and low temperatures. They keep getting high and keep going low. Like the first time in history, temperatures have gone high and gone low. And that's what's causing all these heart attacks.
Oh, God.
That's called season changing.
That's called being paid to push a propaganda.
Now, who would have come up with that? Well, what's the possible scientific
They're literally
evidence
saying it.
linking temperatures and heart attacks?
No, it's just a coincidence.
Coincidence.
We just learned that today.
Yeah, it's a coincidence. We're going to give you a paper with a bunch of sciencey explanations of why this is not the vaccine.
We should play that thing again. Let's save that, and every couple of weeks we'll just play it because it's. I mean, it's
An Air Force football player died walking to class.
Yeah, right.
This week,
a big husky lineman, a big solid lineman, dropped dead going to school.
high school girl died somewhere out west. She was having chest pains, and they said, "Okay, you can't play," and she died on the bench.
Diamond and Silk. They're wondering whether the virus had something to do with her, the one who died.
She didn't get a jab though, did she?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Well, what kills me is because the same people that wanted you to show proof that you had taken the vaccine to
Right.
get into an effing McDonald's.
Yeah, in California.
Are the same people now saying you can't ask that question if
Right.
someone drops dead in front of you
Yeah.
at
Don't-
17?
Yeah, and don't forget, this is the governor of California was the leader of this business of having you have a vaccine card before you could go into, In-N-Out Burger. God, he wants to be your president. Well, you probably elect him.
Probably will.
I know Georgia will. Friday the 13th is tomorrow. And I have in my little funny book a fairly short, but I think might be
You don't
possibly
remember that from Friday the 13th in the background? Kill.
Never watched that show. Never watched
It was not a show; it was a movie, and there was like
Never
a bunch of
watched
them. You
I
you
don't-
never watched one Friday the 13th?
Not Halloween,
yeah, there's
not
like
any
8
of
of
them.
Oh, there's like
Is that
13 or
Betsy
14.
Palmer?
There's one where Jason goes to space.
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Who's he killing up there?
there's another one where like he escapes to New York. I mean, it's almost comical.
God. Anyway, Friday the 13th, they say weird things happen and strange things happen. Well, on Friday the 13th, we know the nature of genius is to provide idiots with ideas 20 years later, said a French poet one time. He had a point. It's often been said that some of the most brilliant minds have gone unheralded in their own lifetimes. Van Gogh was a failed, starving artist who sold only a couple of paintings before committing suicide in 1890. People liked Bach's Bach, as organ playing, but largely ignored his compositions. Edgar Allan Poe barely made a living writing his classic tales of the macabre. And sometimes genius has actually been scorned. This was perhaps the most egregiously evident in the ridicule Robert H. Goddard endured when his pioneering ideas and practical applications for space travel became public in 1920. The New York Times was particularly harsh in an editorial called A Severe Strain on Credulity, published January 13th, Friday the 13th, 1920. The newspaper declared Goddard only seemed to lack the basic scientific knowledge ladled out daily in our high schools. Stung by the unwarranted criticism, Goddard responded several days later, "Every vision is a joke until the first man accomplishes it," he said to a reporter. "Once realized, it becomes commonplace." Well, 24 years after Goddard died in 1945, man walked on the moon, propelled there by the rocket technology originated by the much derided physicist, Mr. Goddard. Yeah. The day after the historic event that happened when they walked on the moon, the day after, the New York Times saw fit to publish a correction of its scathing editorial written nearly 50 years earlier. Quote, "Further investigation and experimentation have confirmed the findings of Isaac Newton in the 17th century, and it is now definitely established that a rocket can function in a vacuum as well as in an atmosphere. The Times regrets the error."
You know that some scientist read that and kept that clipping for all those years and contacted them and said, "You need to correct
That's
this."
right. That's right. And they did, which is pretty amazing. I remember, did you go outside and look at the moon? I did. My starter wife and I in 1969.
We
and
were in
I was
TV.
at Arizona State, and I went outside. I just come back out of the Marines and went outside, and they were up
8
on
years
the moon,
old. We
man.
rushed up to my great-grandmother's house in Durham, Mississippi, and we watched it on their black and white little TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just gotten out of the Marines, and we were at Arizona State, and went out in the parking lot, and just remarked, "Oh my God, they're walking up
And
there
we
right
studied Goddard when we were kids. I doubt they do
The
anymore.
name. Well, I don't think anybody studies names like even Einstein or Steinmetz. I mean, there are a lot of very significant inventors and minds.
Steinmart, they know, but no.
Steinmart, they know. Yes, sir. Let's see.
You know where Steinmart started?
I do not.
Greenville, Mississippi.
Really? Do we know why?
I think it's close.
Was that a guy's name?
The guy's name. He was
Steinmart?
Stein. Yeah.
I'll be
No,
damned.
his name wasn't Steinmart. It was Stein.
Well, I don't know.
And he made a mart. His name was
name was
Steinmart.
Mart.
That's the guy who invented Kmart. Was his name Kmart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name was Joe Lipschitz, and he changed it to Bob Lipschitz. I don't know.
of the Greenville
The
Lipschitz.
famous Greenville Lipschitz. Oh my God!
You know that's what Van Note does. He always introduced himself. "Hi, Jeff Van Note of the Roswell Van Notes."
I hope he's doing all right. If
too.
anybody ever sees him, say hi to all of us. He's
need to
just
get
a
hold
great
of him.
guy. I hope he's doing well. A couple of historical notes. Thomas Edison's Central Station began operating at a London viaduct with the hope that the electricity would overwhelm unsuspecting new customers, causing fires that would make Edison extra money with his side business, Fire Damage Removal Incorporated.
Viaduct? No, I don't want a viaduct.
No. 1904, Henry Ford set the land speed record when he reached 91.37 miles an hour in a Buick. I know that'd be silly.
No seatbelt. I guarantee that somebody had no seatbelt on, and if that had wrecked, instant death.
Absolutely. No question about it. 1915, the U.S. Congress rejected someone's ridiculous proposal in an actual bill to allow women to vote. My God. 1949, on CBS, Arthur Godfrey premiered with his friends and stayed on the air for 7 years. Same day on NBC, Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, the famous children's show, debuted. I never missed it. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. 1971 on this day, CBS, Aw Geez Meathead, All in the Family premiered. And same day, 1966, Adam West and Batman premiered on ABC with Boy Wonder as well. 1960, I didn't read my thing here. 1960, Dolph Schayes of the Syracuse Nationals, the Nats, NBA team, became the first NBA player to score. I didn't put it into lower cap, and I had to score exclamation point, percentage, lowercase, and close parentheses. So I think it's 5,000 points in a career, or 2,000 points, or 1,000 points. Dolph Schayes was the first player to score an X number of points in his entire career. I played basketball with Dolph Schayes at Scotty Perkins. What's his name? Frankie Perkins' birthday party, and his parents hired Dolph Schayes to come to the party, and we went out shooting baskets. And I was shooting baskets with Dolph Schayes, who, by the way, back in the 50s, used to have a two-handed set shot. I bet you haven't seen one in ever. And the NBA. I bet you haven't seen.
In the 70s, there's
maybe
one
Bob
guy
Cousy or somebody. But again, it's been at least 50 years, and a lot of them were doing two-handed set shots, and some of them were doing underhanded two-hand free throws.
Rick Barry did that.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to play basketball with Dolph Schayes, who at the time was a very famous guy. It was pretty cool. 1998 on this day, Linda Tripp gave taped, recorded conversations she had with Monica Lewinsky to Special Independent Counsel Ken Starr. 1910, a couple from China became the youngest parents in history. It's disturbing, they were both children. The husband was 9, his childbearing wife was 8.
Okay, I think the Dolph Schayes story lost us a couple listeners on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did it? Yeah. What, are they saying no more Dolph Schayes stories? It was
No, you started the story, and by the time you finished, we'd lost 2 people on YouTube.
Well, I'm sorry. How about this? Rush Limbaugh's birthday. He died in 2021, 2 years ago.
2 years.
Very happy to go. Kirstie Alley would have been 72 today. Ronnie Spector, 78, died last year. Howard Stern's birthday today, 69. He turned into an asshole. I mean, what, he did. I mean, he was always, a goof, but all of a sudden
he was anti-establishment, and now he's Mr.
Which we appreciated,
establishment.
which we appreciated. Oliver Platt, you know him, the big heavy set guy, 62. He was in West Wing. He was in Chicago Med. He was in what was the
Dolph Schayes.
No, the series where
that one. Huh?
Oh God,
it was on TV. There were people.
They had Key and Peele with the 2 FBI agents, and the guy got away.
Fargo,
and he was on one of the episodes of Fargo, of the series of Fargo. Wasn't he the one who was who had all the dead birds, frogs flying on him, and he hid money or something? Wasn't that Oliver Platt?
I don't remember.
I think it was in one of the episodes of Fargo. Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight reel, 63 today. I stood next to him on a MARTA train one time going to the airport. It was very cool. Claim to fame. I lost 2 more listeners. God, I'm sorry. I can open my mouth. And Jeff Bezos, the billionaire, 59 today. Heather Mills McCartney, 55. Paul's ex, who once appeared on Dancing with the Stars. Her dislikes include landmines, reefer, and Stella McCartney.
Termites.
And termites. The amazing Kreskin, is 88 today. The
Remember you had
psychic entertainer, a mentalist.
Yeah, I remember he called the show one time.
Yeah, he called
that's
the
the
show.
only. That's the only time.
Distant relative of the guy who founded Kmart. We had him call the show. I remember it was his birthday, or he's making a.
No, he was doing a string of interviews, and that's the only time I've ever been on your show where you had an interview.
Yeah. And didn't we try? I forgot how
He didn't want to play along.
He didn't want. He wanted to talk about his life, but he didn't want to actually do an event, a stunt for us. And you have to know. I've seen him. And
he was old when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know. But I remember him on Johnny Carson. He'd go into the audience and he'd say, "You've got a three of hearts playing card in your pie or something." Now, unless it was all staged, or maybe what they're saying was that the announcer had an earpiece or something and to him, and the announcer would say, "Who's got something? Oh, you've got a beautiful pair of red socks here. Let's get that." And it would go into his ear. I see red socks. Now I don't know whether that's a thing, but I've seen him in action, and it was amazing. If it's true,
I saw a show. Actually, it was an old Western. And it was a flim flam artist. And what he would do, he would send a woman into town, or a man, depending on who he had, before he got to that little town.
Yeah.
And they would stay there a few days and hang out in the bars, the restaurant, and everything, and listen to the local gossip.
Yeah.
And then they would go tell the guy. So when he came into town and he'd have his little meeting, the psychic meeting with all of them, he would astound them by picking out, "Oh, you've got a sister I see coming in from the east, Boston or something."
Cool.
And that's how they would do it.
Yeah. I wonder if was Kreskin the guy who bent the fork?
No, that was Uri Geller.
Oh, Uri Geller.
That was fake.
Didn't he? Yeah. No, I don't know. I forgot. Did they discover that he had faked that thing somehow, or that heated it up or something?
You can do it with the thing. But here's about Uri Geller.
Heat tension,
I've told this before. When I was a kid, I was sitting at the table doing some homework, and my mom was in the kitchen, and we're watching the Mike Douglas show.
Yeah.
And he's on there, Uri Geller. He says, "Oh, let's do a little thing here. I'm going to draw something on a pad, and I'm barely paying attention. So I drew a triangle with a number in it. I forget what number was in there.
You did this while you're watching the show?
While I'm watching anything. And I look up, and he turns it around, and it was a triangle with a number in it.
Oh, my God.
And ever since then, I thought, well, there's something to this guy. He may be faking the forks, but the other thing, there's something to it.
Well, that's
and I
pretty
said, "Mom," and she goes, "What the?" It was just weird.
That's pretty cool. I love it. Let's see. We'll do some movie trivia?
Yeah, let's do some movie trivia. First of all, David says he's got a survey here, Flounder. All right. Are you guys sock, shoe, or sock, shoe?
No, sock, shoe.
Sock,
and my
sock,
first
shoe,
sock
shoe.
I put on is the darker one. I do not wear the same color socks or the same style socks. I never wear the same pair of socks. I take two different socks. And for some reason, I could show you. Oh, I got boots. I don't want to do it, but I have a dark blue and dark red sock on my right foot, and I have a kind of a greenish yellowish one, I think, on my left foot. And for some reason, when I put on my socks, I put the darker one on my right foot. Then I put the lighter color one on my left, and I never vary it. I look at the socks and pick out the dark one. The dark one goes first on the right. Then the other one goes on the left, and then I don't put on my boots till I go out to the garage to get the car. I don't wear shoes in the house.
Believe it or not, there's a scientific name for what you just described.
Really? What's it called?
Anal.
That's Latin for no girlfriend.
All right, so I tell you, moving, right? And I told you the story of the movers the first day they came, well, not the movers, but the cleaners when they came in the flood to get the water out. They basically drank all my Cokes and ate the almonds out of the fridge.
Oh, no kidding.
So they drank almost an entire 12-pack
Well, it was going to spoil.
Yeah, it was going to spoil. So for the first time this morning, I was there cleaning up and opened the freezer. They didn't drink the Cokes. They wanted cold Cokes.
Oh,
they put them in the freezer.
And forgot to
They
take
all
them
look
out.
like little grenades about
I bet
to
they're
go
gonna
off.
explode.
Yeah, I'm not
will.
touching them. I'm telling the management, I'm not touching them. They're going to blow over me and the entire
Let's put them on
kitchen.
the porch.
I'm not touching them.
Well,
They're grenades.
If they warm up slowly, they probably will not explode.
How about if I drop them off the balcony and see what happens to
They
them?
definitely explode then.
There's
Make
a
sure the
gentleman-
marketing manager's walking by.
Who?
Make sure the marketing manager from
Yeah.
across the street's walking by.
By a lot of people really getting on to him because of that change over at the
good.
Going after his marriage too. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, here's a guy named Tim Starks who writes a column for somebody. Let's see who it is. The Washington Post. And he wrote in June 5th, 2019, his name's Tim Starks, Russia's manipulation of Twitter was far vaster than believed in 2016 for Trump during the election. That's what he said.
Okay.
Same man yesterday. Russian trolls on Twitter had little influence on 2016 voters.
Yeah, there you go.
The exact same Washington Post, exact same reporter.
Yep.
Complete blatant lie.
And no explanation of why he would have been quoted and caught from a previous article.
No.
Because they just sidestep it and ignore it.
None whatsoever.
It's a cover-up. The whole freaking country's involved in it. I mean, think about it. And they're still talking about, they tried to eliminate gas stoves? I mean, you gotta be, what a bunch of idiots. What are they thinking? I mean, where does this guy, who did this? Somebody's coming up with these ideas, and it's just, I mean,
they're insane.
Every one of them is nonsense.
Okay.
Oh, God.
All right, I'm getting, okay, here we go. Strange but true. When the Empire State Building employees heard that the 1976 King Kong with Jessica Lange and Jeff Bridges remake would be filming at the World Trade Center and not the Empire State Building, they picketed by dressing up in monkey suits and walking around the 102nd floor as monkeys.
And when was this? When they decided?
1976.
Okay, it was before the 9/11. Obviously, I didn't hear the date. Yeah. Wow. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. You know Alan Hale Jr.
Yeah, from Frisbee's Garden there with a sailor around the sea.
Frisbee's Garden?
A 3-day trip on the ocean.
Gilligan's Island?
Gilligan's Island, yeah.
Frisbee's Garden would be a better name.
Gilligan's Island, Frisbee's it was close. It had like a syllable.
When filming a movie called Bullet for a Bad Man, Alan Hale got casting call for Gilligan's Island. He saddled up his horse, rode out of Zion National Park, Utah, to the highway. I don't know if he gave the horse to somebody or just left it there. Hitchhiked to Las Vegas for the interview.
What did he do with his horse?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
And when was this? What, did you have to say a date?
That had to be the 60s.
I was going to say.
Gilligan's Island. Yeah.
Oh, my
Did you
God.
know that when Clint Eastwood was filming his spaghetti westerns, a fistful of dollars and all, he wore the same poncho for all 3 films and never washed it.
Oh, gross.
That had to be the...
He said he had said, he had those little cigars. He said they made him sick. They were just, he hated them. He said he begged him. He said, don't make me, don't make me.
they were just iconic.
Have you ever had one of those things?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Like something roots. What do they call them? Rum-soaked roots.
Ooh.
ROOTS, and they're little black, teeny cigars that are just raw, man. They're just, oh, God, they're awful.
Tippi Hedren.
Tippi Hedren was a psycho, but a looker, and her daughter's a dish.
Good-looking
Melanie
woman.
Griffith, is that the one? Tippi
During
Hedren?
the film The Birds,
yeah,
the crew actually threw live birds at her during the film.
I heard that to freak her out.
It worked.
And it worked, because she definitely, that was a... By the way, that was kind of rapey, wasn't it? Isn't that the one where...
Oh, he was all time rapey.
Wow.
1928, the film Noah's Ark was released. One of the greatest special effects, the flood. Noah's flood killed 2 of the extras.
Ooh, wow.
They didn't tell them when it was coming. They just unleashed the water, and it killed 2 of them.
Where was it? Did you say where this was?
1928, L.A.
In L.A.? At the studio?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Do you know that when the Cecil B. DeMille's first, not Ben-Hur, was it? Maybe it was Ben-Hur.
Cleopatra?
Where he did the thing out, he built an entire city out in the desert, an Egyptian city, and they buried it afterwards. And they dug it up a few years ago as if it was an archaeological dig. And they literally went out in the desert and dug it up again, the great sets and everything.
Why would they bury it?
It would cost too much to bring it back to L.A.
Well, just leave it there.
They left it there.
Why would you bury it? I don't know.
The Graduate.
Whatever. The Graduate. Yeah. There's a lot of what a
plastics.
Plastics.
I think the scene where he's driving that little MG or whatever it was, the Triumph or what, and he drives it through the tunnel over the bridge and through the tunnel. I thought that was when the music's playing. I thought it was very iconic.
One word for you. plastics.
The casting director initially mistook Dustin Hoffman for a window cleaner when he showed up. Not wanting to break character, Dustin started cleaning windows.
He's the one who went into a room and screamed his lungs off for a whole weekend so that he would be hoarse when he did Little Big Man, the Indian story. Yeah. And you told the story of how his famous co-star, the British Sir Lawrence...
that was Marathon Man.
Okay, well,
Laurence
but again,
Olivier,
he screamed himself for like a weekend by himself in a room until he couldn't talk anymore. And when Laurence Olivier...
Well, he came in dressed like a bum, like his character was on the streets. And he came in all disheveled, and he couldn't look anybody in the eye.
He was exhausted.
And Olivier's looking at him because, my dear boy, it's called acting. One of the great lines of all time.
And again, I've got Marathon Man on my DVR. Oh, and incidentally, I'm almost finished with Knives Out.
Yeah,
I really, you know what I'm thinking about this movie, and the more and the plot changes, and then the old, I mean, it's a really interesting movie, and it's put together like the Grand Bahama Hotel thing we were talking about. I mean, it's the same weird,
but
really, really well done series of I mean, it's really, really well done. And I love Craig, what's his name? Daniel Craig is great in the role, and it's so far from James Bond as to be hysterical, and he pulls it off, and I don't think of him as James Bond.
It shows what a great actor he is.
Very good actor. And I'm getting to the part now where she's afraid, and somebody I mean, she's going through the motion. She's got the money, and the family's after her, and she, but I've got probably 20 minutes left to watch, so I'm really excited about how it's going to turn out.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
And the story is a guy dies, and he gives his entire inheritance, millions and 60 million plus houses and stuff, to his nurse, the woman who gave him shots, a 20-year-old Uruguayan girl. And his family's cut out, so they go nuts. So that's the story of the tension of the sequences and stuff. But it's really, really well done. I can't tell you enough about how excited I am that it's different. It's really an interesting movie.
Well, the sequel, Glass Onion, he's even more into the character Daniel Craig, and it's more humor to it as well.
Yeah, so it's really very. I'm surprised because I haven't seen it. I haven't gone to the movies in forever, but he made it on TV, and so I mean, it's really well done. I'm excited about it.
Well, by the way, the Ana de Armas was on the Golden Globes as a presenter the other night.
Oh, I missed it.
And everything just stopped. It's like, oh my
really?
God, she is so gorgeous.
Well, I didn't watch it.
And what's her name? Anne Margaret.
Oh, yes.
Anne Margaret, okay.
Anne Margaret, yes.
The movie Bye Bye Birdie, probably her first big thing.
Tony Randall, maybe, or Jack Klugman?
No, Dick Van Dyke was the co-star.
Dick Van Dyke, okay.
Dick Van Dyke did not like her.
Oh, really?
Turns out, on the Broadway stage, his character was the main thing. But she was the thing then.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true.
And they made the movie more about her, and he was not happy. And said that she got preferential treatment because she sat in the director's lap.
Oh boy, I'll bet she sat in his lap. That's called a lap dance. But now I wonder whether that was after the Steve McQueen Gambler movie. She was the girlfriend, and he was the card shark.
Was Cincinnati Kid?
Yeah, Cincinnati Kid. She was in that as Shooter's wife. And she wanted to have an affair with Steve McQueen.
Really?
She was in that, and she was huge after that. And then she'd been in a couple others. I wonder whether that was before, and that's why she became such a big star that by the time Bye Bye Birdie came out, they had to deal with her.
Or she sat in the guy's lap.
Or she sat in his lap and gave him that special God bless you, womanly, heavenly gift.
Some like it hot.
Some like it hot, all right, baby.
You know that. Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
Tony.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the first time I noticed I liked women.
Yeah.
When she showed up in that sequin dress.
Oh,
Anyway.
boy.
But they're cross-dressing. They're hiding out as women in San Diego.
Girls. Yeah. And
right.
On the train. Yeah.
It was considered too disturbing for Kansas and was banned in all theaters in the state.
Because they were dressing like girls? Oh, my God. I just thought to be the part where they tried to decide to get into her berth on the train together with her or something. I think that was what I was seeing there. But again, that figures. And what was that, 1966 maybe? Or
I don't know.
68, 62, 4 or 5?
So my great niece was staying over with us last night, and of course they had to put Disney movies on to keep her from killing us.
Yes.
She's 1 year old. And they put Mulan on, the Chinese one. I have never seen it before. and they have a big ghost.
M-U-L-U-U-A or whatever it was,
Mulan or something like that. Yeah. One of the big ghosts is George Takei with his deep voice.
Yeah,
he brings up a bunch of old Chinese ancestors. Okay. And they're yelling at each other, arguing, and one of the Chinese ancestors sounds like a Jewish guy from Brooklyn. It's like every movie. I mean, come on, man. You don't tell me there's a Brooklyn Jewish guy in China. But anyway, so they're all yelling at each other, and one of the women, and I don't know, Mulan's what, 20 years old?
Oh, at least, I would think.
It's not that old.
Well, it's been a while. Well, I don't know.
And it's a Disney movie.
It's a Disney thing. Yeah, that's been around a while.
At one point, they're yelling at each other, and she says, I knew that girl would be trouble. And the other one says, what do you know? One of your ancestors was a cross-dresser. And I just stopped and went, what did she say? They would never. That wasn't that long ago. Disney would never let that in a movie now.
Yeah.
It was an insult.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ben-Hur, the original Ben-Hur, was supposed to be filmed in Libya. But the government said, wait a minute, there are Christians in this. There's Christian themes throughout this. And they wouldn't let him film in Libya because of that.
Ben-Hur.
Nearly 40 years after Casablanca's premiere. Casablanca is supposedly the greatest movie ever made in a lot of people's mind. The greatest script, even though they wrote the script as they filmed it. They did not have a script as they were doing it.
I would put Casablanca in probably my top 10 of movies that I've ever seen. I'll bet you.
It's everything people say it is.
Maybe top 5. I mean, but in fact, I saved the last 10 minutes because that, we'll always have I mean, think about the words. Here's looking at you, kid. Jesus.
Play it again.
I mean, oh my God, I want to make love to a woman who, here's looking at you, kid. Wow, Jesus, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just, here's a man, the man. Here's looking at you, kid. To the young nymph, woman. It was the way it was, and he was the man, and here's looking at you, kid. Probably give a little pinch in the cheek, and I mean, just oh my God, we'll always have.
And he sacrificed for the greater good.
Yeah, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day in the rest of your life. I mean, what a brilliant.
And they wrote that as they went.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They had no clue. But anyway, I heard something the other day, and
in fact,
Flounder, have you ever seen the movie Casablanca?
They also,
I think we watched it in high school.
They filmed different endings. Yeah. They filmed 2 different endings where she went with him and where he said, go with your husband.
And it doesn't work with that.
And they did audience test studies, and they said, no, we can't do that. But they did at least 2 endings, as I recall correctly.
There was a story I heard a few days ago that supposedly Bogey did his scenes and then went across the street to a bar. And the director goes, oh, crap, I need him for one more shot. So he sent this intern to go find him in one of the bars and drag Bogey back in. He's grousing the entire time. They get him back in. The director says, literally, it's going to take a minute. I need you to stand right there. And when someone cues you, I need you to look and nod. And he goes, I can do that. He did it. And then he went back to drinking. It turns out that's the part of the movie where the guy looks at him to Rick, shall I have the band play La Marseillaise while the Germans are in here? And it changes his whole character from I don't care, I'm American here, it doesn't bother me what's going on, to I'm siding with the French.
Yeah. Stick it to the Krauts. Yeah, I'll be damned.
The whole movie changed on that. The whole character changed on that.
And that was a powerful scene, too, when that girl started singing the Marseillaise.
And the Germans are in there, and they're singing. Oh, yeah. Nearly 40 years after its premiere, Casablanca's script was sent to film studios under a different title. It was received not at all. Criticisms ranging from too much dialogue to not enough sex.
Oh, my God.
What was the summary of the movie?
Well, Rick runs a bar in Casablanca, and it's World War II, and the Nazis are taking over France and Europe, and they're about to take over, or they're actually taking over North Africa and Casablanca and the whole area. And Casablanca is important because you can get what's called a letter of transit, which gives you permission from the government to get out of there and go to England,
South
America.
I
think went to South America and then to America. But it was a landing point or an escape point where Europeans could flee. If they could get to Casablanca, get a letter of transit, they could get out and get to America or somewhere else. And it was a story of how the Nazis are trying to. Ingrid Bergman's husband, who she thought had died in the war and had an affair with Rick, and then he came back to life. She didn't know it until after that. But he was a hugely famous, world famous hero of the anti-war people. Underground, French underground. And so the Nazis were knew him, and he was there, and they were trying to prevent him from leaving. Rick was responsible for getting letters of transit, gave it to her and the husband so they could flee, and made it out of Casablanca. So it's a World War II story of leaving and
escaping to freedom and love.
Yeah. But again, it's a dialogue movie. It's in black and white.
The music's great. That great song.
Play it again, Sam.
No,
and
that's
he
not
never
the name
said
of the
it.
song. I got it on my phone.
Maybe I'm sure it's on.
Kiss is just a kiss or something like that.
I'm sure it's on Netflix or Amazon.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
They play it all the time.
That was the song. A kiss is just a kiss. Play it. Where she said, "Play it, play it."
I don't think that she ever says "play it again."
She never said "play it again, Sam."
It's something similar.
That's a trivia.
I have the old intro to it before.
She says, "You know it, Sam. Play it one more time." She never says "play it again."
I never
Sam.
thought I'd see you again.
Yeah. Well, hello.
Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Was supposed to play a 12-year-old child. She was a little older at the time. They put a painful corset on her to flatten her chest.
Yeah, wasn't she like 20 or something?
No,
I think, or 18.
I don't think she was that old, was she? All right, one of the great movies of all time, Captain Blood and Robin Hood, starring Errol Flynn. Right?
Errol Flynn, probably
And
1938 or 41
around
or
there.
something. Yeah.
Basil Rathbone was the sheriff of Nottingham, and one of the great sword scenes of all time. They're going up and down
Up
stairs.
and down the stairs and the shadows, and remember the shadows of the fighting?
Oh,
and stuff?
hell yeah.
Brilliant.
The director ordered the sword protectors to be removed from the swords. So they were fighting with real swords the whole time they're doing that to amp up the excitement. As Errol Flynn was jabbed once, he grabbed the director by the throat and said, "Is that exciting enough for you?" How did they make the roar of King Kong? The original King Kong.
Oh, great question. Wow, sometimes they do things like they, take cardboard boxes and stuff and amplify certain weird sounds. I can't imagine how they made that roar.
They recorded a lion and a tiger's roar, and they played it in reverse. I'm going to have to listen to it next time and say
wonder why that changed the octaves or something, I wonder?
Netflix has a remake of All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm about halfway through it, and it's really good. It's really? It's
I don't think I've ever seen that.
The book is one of
movie.
the greatest books I ever read, and I read it when I was a kid.
It's one of the famous war
God,
books.
it's great.
But,
It's great. Well, the original is World War I film.
Yeah.
The original one that came out in the 30s, I believe, Nazis hated it because they talked about the Germans losing and all that. They would release rats and stink bombs in theaters, and it got so bad that the theaters pulled the movie. It would not be screened in Germany until 26 years after its premiere.
Jeez.
Because of Nazis.
Wow.
And Henry Fonda. Grapes of Wrath.
Terrible actor, nice man and everything, but just had no talent. He couldn't. I got lost walking out, Mama. I don't know where I am. Jeez, he's a terrible actor.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
The producer of Grapes of Wrath, the John Steinbeck novel about the
famous.
Okies escaping to go to California,
The Dust Bowl, Oklahoma Rush, and stuff. Yeah.
He read the book and thought it exaggerated their plight.
They were all dying.
They're Californians.
They had no food.
That's right. So he sent investigators to Oklahoma and said, "Oh my God, it's worse than we thought."
It's annihilation. The children are dying
They're
on the
all
road.
dead. That's just some movie trivia there.
Holy moly gadoli. All right, Flounder, what's going on in your life? How's your little girlfriend action there? Is that any progression there?
That one, no, we never ended up really hanging out again. So,
did it just disappear or
just holidays? Yeah, it wasn't nothing bad or anything like that. Just
well, now just out of curiosity, who was the last one to communicate with the other one? Did you send her a note and she never replied, or vice versa? Do you know?
No, I actually no. We no, it was nothing like that. I think I sent her a text and she answered the question. It wasn't anything.
Okay.
And then it just kind of fizzled from there.
Well, there you go.
Should have brought her a salmon.
Well, now tell us who she is and where she works, and we'll go see her.
Yeah, we'll knock her up. Stan says, "As time goes by," that's the name of the song. It's a great song.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And by the way, that piano was a miniature piano. That piano was about 3 feet tall. Really? And the reason was because Humphrey Bogart was so short when he was at the piano hiding documents and with Sam stuff like that, they didn't want him to look like a little guy. And so they made a short piano.
Why didn't they just put a box there?
Well, I don't know, but that's what they did.
Alan Ladd.
They had a tiny piano. Alan Ladd, same thing, yeah.
Yeah. Rocco says, thanks for the spoiler, Kimmer. I was going to watch Casablanca tonight.
Oh, sorry. It's only been 70 years.
Rocco's full of information. He says a tornado just hit Selma.
We're under tornado watch in Fulton County, I think, for a while.
Yeah.
This afternoon, as we speak. Again, it's Thursday, the 12th of January. We have a tornado thing going on here. I better go home and take my flag down.
Why?
Well, twice in the last several months, the wind has been so strong that it actually rips the mounting right off my deck. And the flag's fine, and my pole's fine. It's not touched, but it still rips it off, and I got to go re-screw it and things like that.
You were alive in 1964, right?
Absolutely. It's when I graduated from prep school.
Did you eat cereal back then? Post-cereal?
I never, actually, I know, we were never, my mother used to make us eggs and farina and oatmeal and bacon.
Farina,
and,
one of the little rascals?
French toast, and I mean, she cooked us breakfast for a family of 7.
Mark says a salmon cures everything.
I never ate cereal, and I still don't. I rarely will I have cereal.
In 1964, Post had a cereal called Bran and Prune Flakes.
No, I don't remember that.
The benefits of bran and the sweetness of prunes.
Yeah, I would.
is how they sold it.
Yeah. Well, it's like raisin bran, same thing, basically. Prunes are raisins.
They're big ass disgusting things, is what they are.
Well, but prunes are not. Prunes are sweet.
They're
fruit.
very good for you, but they're
But
horrible.
who wants to eat one?
April's Fool's Day, 1998. You remember this? Burger King took out a full-page ad in USA Today announcing the launch of their left-handed Whopper, designed specifically for left-handed Americans. Burger King said that the condiments of the burger are going to be the same, but they will be rotated at 180 degrees. Thousands of people showed up the next day asking for the lefty Whopper.
They do this they did it again not too long ago. They did another stunt like that, which is pretty funny. Well, I think it's great. Good
they should do it every year.
They should do it every year.
In fact, I've got one planned for you guys this year if I remember it.
All right.
We're going to do it.
Look forward to it.
We're going to do it on there. By the way, Paul Johnson got elected to the College Football Hall of Fame. Good for him.
Paul
Johnson. Georgia Tech
coach. Oh, that's right.
He was a coach everywhere. He's been all over the place on that. And there's one more thing I was going to share with you. Not this porn thing. No, there's something else. Or maybe not. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, in fact, I was looking. I saved a couple of pictures of some memes, which I thought were fairly amusing, and I was maybe.
Oh, here's one. DC Comics is coming out with a comic book where the Joker is pregnant.
Oh, I heard about that.
You
Come
believe
on,
that?
people.
That's
come on.
It's kids read this. It's confusing.
But who decides these motion?
I tell you who momentum. These nerds up in New York City who write these comic books.
Parents, come on.
They used to have editors who would say, no, not anymore.
I don't get it.
The BBC now had a report out that said white middle-class images of the British countryside puts off Asian visitors.
White images?
Yeah, having white Englishmen.
The British countryside is buildings and barns and rolling hills and wheat
and white people.
And people working in the fields and working their land. They're white, and so that's anti-Chinese now?
Too many white people. We got to get rid of them so the Asians don't feel put out.
Jesus,
Okay, all those Asians that are there visiting are Anglophiles. They want to see British people. They want to see British people in the country. They did not come all the way from Japan and China to see Chinese people standing around in the Cotswolds.
I don't think they're trying to change the demographics of an entire nation like the Mexicans and other people with Biden are doing. I don't think that's what they're doing. I don't think the Chinese people are going to London to become Chinese.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, don't be stupid.
All right. Anything else? Because the storms are coming, and we probably should get on the road.
Yeah, they're saying there's now a 25% chance you will see a tornado within 25 miles today.
Oh boy! Well,
today?
we're gonna.
Yeah,
we probably should get on the road.
Yeah. Any weekend plans? If you need help Friday, if they show up
no,
later,
they should. They're gonna get.
Yeah, it's like
tomorrow.
Pete said. He got the professionals.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And Flounder, hi to the family, and if it ever gets nice, we'll hit.
Yeah, if it's nice out, we need to go hit. But I think it's supposed to be like this all
yeah,
weekend.
Probably.
So.
All right. Well, boys, God bless America, and thank you all over the world.
Oh, wait a minute.
Very sweet people.
Wait a minute here.
All right.
We
all
got
right.
find us the bad text there, by the way.
Oh, that's right, too. We have time for a bad
That's
text.
a horrible one. I don't know if I can do this one.
Yeah, some of those bad jokes are really bad jokes.
Yeah, this one it's a little rapey, so we'll skip that
a little
one.
rapey, yeah. That.
Did you hear about the Polish woman who bought an exercise bike and died the very same day?
No.
She tried to ride it home.
Oh.
Is that good, or you want another one?
Yeah. They don't move.
Let's see. What do you do when a Polish tank is mounting an assault on you?
Give him a kiss.
Shoot the guy pushing it. What's the Polish definition of bondage?
I don't know.
Tying a woman's legs together. Okay, that takes theater here. We love the Poles.
They've got it backwards.
We love the Poles. Where are we,
All
Flounder?
right, we're on December 8th.
December 8th.
Neutron joke.
Neutron. Oh, good grief. A neutron joke. All right, December 8th. All right. Day that will. All right. You the neutron or the bartender?
I'll be the neutron.
All right. Neutron walks into a bar.
How about a little science joke? Neutron walks into a bar. Oh my God! I just pulled a Biden right there. I literally just did a Biden.
Now we've looked at the script, and now we begin
read it
again.
twice.
Begin anew. All right, ready? And
Okay, we all know. We've set the scene. A neutron has walked into a bar.
bar.
Or you're the
Hey, barkeep, how much for a drink?
For you, no charge.
No charge, ladies and gentlemen. A neutron. You see, walked
See, a
into
neutron has no charge.
into a bar.
Sophia knew that.
Yeah, it's like a
She's
three-legged dog walks in a bar and says, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paw." No, sorry.
You want one more? Or is that
One
it?
more. Let's do one more. What the hell? It's a 3-day
The next one about the guy's son.
The electrical cord?
Yeah.
Sure.
What are you going to be?
I'll be Jeff.
My son has been eating electrical cords. What do I do?
Ground him until he conducts himself properly.
Okay, one more.
Man, you know, I used to be allergic to drinking brake fluid, but I can stop anytime I want.
All right, a man and a genie. Are you the man or the genie?
I'll be the genie.
All right. Man finds a ball on the beach and rubs it. Out pops a genie.
I'll grant you 3 wishes.
First of all, I like to be rich.
Okay, Rich, what's your next wish?
That would be me. I would think hard for like 9 minutes, and I would do that. All right. Anyway, all over the world, God bless you. Thank you so much.
Hungry.
We really appreciate it. And whatever you can do to help us keep this going,
Please,
we are very...
Venmo, PayPal.
Do it
Check.
All right, boys.
Patreon.
And God bless America. Hoorah! Semper Fi, I gotta go. You're killing me. Look out. Had a herb.